It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig. You decide when you lose, not other people. And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and, of course, the subscribe button. And join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollers.locals.com. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday to you. I'm Stuttering Craig. Man, we got a packed house today. It's going to be a good one. We have so much news to share. I'm glad you guys have found us today, wherever you're tuning in. First and foremost, hello, Blabs.
Hello, I'm actually really excited for today's show.
You're bouncing around in the background. I saw you out there.
Yeah, I'm not even eating food and I'm dancing. It's great.
You're not even wedding?
Eating food. Usually I eat food and I dance, like I have to dance, like woohoo!
You're like that guy.
It's a woman thing.
No. That's who's that guy? Phil on Everybody. What's it? Everybody Eats Phil. What's that show on Netflix? Phil eats the stuff.
Are you alright?
Have you seen that show?
No.
Somebody feed Phil. That's what it is. Where he eats something and he goes, and he gets
no,
all
I just,
like
dude,
like you.
I just eat food and I get happy. Everyone does it. Well, not everyone. Most females, I think.
Food is everybody. When everybody eats food, they kind of dance a little bit in some way.
I've never seen you dance around when you eat food.
Well, it's because I'm not a 13-year-old girl, Blabs.
So not everybody then.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who is a 13-year-old girl trapped in a wonderful mid-30s woman? It's Melonie.
I thought you were going to up Extrazero for a second. I was like, that's so mean.
I thought about it. I thought about going there. I thought about it.
I do happy dances when I eat.
Same.
So
You got your steak and your butter.
yes.
Please don't take that and gift that internet. Melonie, how are you?
I am doing great. Happy to be here.
Looking wonderful in your pink today.
Thank you. I'm wearing the Lizzo shirt right now for this occasion.
I don't think Lizzo could fit in that shirt, Mel.
Well, it's the Jigglypuff. I named my Jigglypuff Lizzo on Leaf Green. My replay of that. So.
Well, it's a big day though, because today is your last day with us for a while. You as we talked about on Tuesday, you're going to be spending some time over on with Jeremy over at the Quartering and doing his show. So we're going to give you a proper send off today. It's going to be great.
All right.
and by us, I mean hopefully the chat sends you off in a major way, and we have a full album of songs to sing today.
Okay, let's do this.
Hey, speaking of wonderful voices, let's bring in Extrazero. Hello, Extrazero. Great to see you.
Is going on. You know, I happen to think, you remember how in the late 90s, early 2000s, they had like all those compilation CDs like Buzz Ballads and Pure Moods.
Now that's what I call music.
Yeah, we need one for Side Scrollers where it's all the hits as sung, and just.
I told you
that's a long form meme project. Somebody pull all those clips and just have like all the scrolling tunes.
I agree.
Did you trim your beard in your hair?
I did. Yeah, I got my haircut. So.
It looks great. No homo.
I don't think you need to say the no homo part.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that's how it works, Melonie.
I'm not
like,
Chaz Bone.
Can I compliment a guy who's married if I just say no homo? It's fine.
You look good as a bro.
Yeah, it looks great, bro. There we go.
Then you tap him on the butt and say, "Get out there and go be great." Hey, joining us for the first time, very excited. I mentioned a full house today. We have the wonderful couple from Based Camp, the YouTube channel, introducing Malcolm and Simone. Hello, welcome.
It is spectacular to be here with you guys today.
We're stoked. Oh, man.
I love his energy.
I love that.
The energy is palpable here on the channel today, which is great. Malcolm, how are you?
Absolutely spectacular. I check it. Your content's fantastic, and it is a joy to be here with you.
All right. Well, that's good. Simone, how are you?
I'm great. Also very excited.
All right. Now, Simone, listen, the elephant in the room is your wonderful attire. I love it.
Oh,
Is this a daily thing?
this is my maternity wear. I'm delivering a baby next Thursday.
Wow.
So I am very, very large, and the only way I can stay warm in our house, which we don't heat during the winter, is by wearing like modified stays and a giant skirt with just tons of layers beneath. So this is just perfect maternity wear.
Hey, first off,
Wow.
Congrats.
Thanks.
like
I
that's
love
awesome.
that you stole your maternity wear from a medieval peasant.
Yeah, I used to wear these Russian, like during the winter, normally in our house, you can basically wear a sleeping bag by getting these very inexpensive Siberian or Russian snowsuits off of Etsy, but I can't fit into them when I'm giant with a big belly. And so instead of looking like an evil Bond villain, I've gone to looking like, medieval peasant, which is great.
Wait,
Awesome.
listen, I love it. And I also love that you got a baby coming. I think your life is about to get so much better.
We're
And
stoked.
yeah, listen, I'm telling you this right now. As a daddy of two, you have your life before, then you have your life that truly begins when you have kiddo. And
This is
kiddo is
100%.
part of that.
Yeah, so this is our fourth.
What do you?
They say economies of
Say it like
scale start to
Craig.
kick in then. So we're very, very excited about our
You may start getting government subsidies after if you have a few more, which will be great. So
We wish, but sadly, we know all too well that that's not going to happen.
true. Well, look, we're glad y'all are with us today, and I immediately am shamed as I only have 2 children and you have 4. So
Get her done. Keep going.
Well, I mean, we tried to.
Oh.
I tried to get a tweet posted today, but my wife said it was too spicy to go live on our account, which was to say that people without kids are basically incels because, using somebody else's body to masturbate your sexual instincts it's just masturbation with extra steps.
Look at
so,
Melonie's face up in the corner. Melonie was like, "What?"
You can see why I exercised a tiny bit of editorial control this morning. but I didn't stop Malcolm.
I say all
Wow.
non-reproductive sex is a kink.
Yeah.
Wow. And with that said, welcome. If you'd like more, head over to the BCM channel, hit the subscribe button right here. There we go. Do what I just did. Man, this is going to be a great show today. I'm very excited for this. All right. Well, I would like to remind everybody, we are live over on rumble.com/side scrollers. Join us over there. The nearly 6,000. I'm sorry. Did I say nearly? I'm 6,000. No, wrong. Nearly 7,000 followers over there as we continue to grow. Yesterday, we had over 1,000 people tuning in over on Rumble, which was great. Another almost 2,500 over here on YouTube. So we're growing everywhere, which is outstanding. Thank you guys very much. Hit the follow button over there. You could have found out that Extrazero and Melonie Mac, and of course, Basecamp, we're going to be here today. If you just followed us over on X at x.com/sidescrollerpod. So make sure you guys go do that. Also, we have an Instagram account, don't we, Blabs?
We do, so follow us for memes and clips of the show. Otherwise, violence and, Jake face.
I'll tell you this. The next person to follow us over on Instagram, I have a feeling Extrazero is going to Photoshop them in Simone's outfit, which will be great.
I can do that.
Nice.
Blabs, just tell me when it happens and I'll make
Okay.
it.
I'll pull it up.
We also have a Kick account, which is outstanding. You can follow us over there. If you don't like us watching here, you can find us over on Kick, which is great at kick.com/sidestrollers. Links to all this stuff is down below. We talked yesterday about Apple Podcast. This is pretty cool. We talked about Apple Podcast, how the show is now over there for the first time. If you don't like watching us, you can listen to us on a day-to-day basis. Yesterday, we said we were starting the show after putting the show up early this week. We did zero promotion, and we were still 102nd in the United States as far as podcast. We talked about it yesterday, and we are now the 24th most popular podcast in the video game world, United States, on our way to number 1. So let's go to Apple Podcasts, guys. The link is in the description. Make sure you guys, subscribe or whatever it is over on Apple Podcasts to get the audio version of the show. Because I got to be honest, there wouldn't be a better middle finger to the video game industry than seeing old side scrollers as number 1. Just gonna throw it out there, right?
I have to say, we just got like a shit ton of followers on Instagram. And that Perez Sid is the one who followed first. So I'm going to send it to Extrazero.
Yeah, just send me a screen cap real quick.
Awesome. Love that. We also have locals at sidescrollers.locals.com. Why do you need to go over there? Let me tell you real quick, because every day you're going to get a notification when we go live, which we know on YouTube doesn't always happen. And in addition, in less than 2 weeks, on April 17th, for the first time, I'll be watching Lord of the Rings on locals. Listen,
You see
Simone,
Simone's face just then. She's like, first time.
I'm a little concerned. This is deeply
I know.
disturbing.
Yes.
listen, it's been well established. You can shame me. Go ahead. Listen, just get it all out right now, Simone. I can already feel the eyes of judgment. Go ahead.
The entire internet is embarrassed for you, and I'm going to have trouble sleeping tonight. But thanks, fine.
I think just by looking at you, everyone knows you've written your share of fan fiction for Lord of the Rings.
You know, a good activity would be to have just read down some of those popular movies of the last 20 years and ask Craig if he's seen them or not.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That should be a video we should do for locals, Craig. I'm writing that down.
I'm telling you, every Wednesday we should do a new video or a new movie reaction or something, or some sort of pop culture media that someone on the show has not been exposed to. And then you watch it, get their reaction, you do it in real time. I think that'd be really fun. So, and we'll start with Lord of the Rings. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Remember, Savvy yesterday said she's never seen Back to the Future. Like, what?
Yeah, that's just weird.
What are we doing here? What have we been doing if we haven't seen Back to the Future? Anyways, go find us over at sidescrollers.locals.com. If you don't want to go over there, you can always stay over here on YouTube and join the nearly 75,000 who have subscribed for Common Sense in the video game space. Let's do our best to get to 700 likes today. That is our goal every single episode, and 25 memberships. As always, I'd like to remind you guys that through the month of April, we have our brand new Side Scrollers All-Stars t-shirt available right now until the end of the month, or until they're gone, which probably may happen. They are in limited quantity. So go pick one up right now. Link is in the description. The Side Scrollers All-Star Baseball t-shirt available right now through the month of April, or until they are gone, which is great. But we're off to a great start today, a killer start, as War Machine came in with 5 gifted memberships right off the bat. Thank you so much, War Machine. If you guys got a gifted membership, make sure you say thank you and consider paying it forward, which is outstanding. Thank you very much, War Machine. Also, not to be outdone, Patriotic Gestalt came in with the $50 super chat. Spectacular. Says, anyways, a shout out to another YouTuber, Ye Old Entertainment, for his latest video, what they aren't telling you about Gamergate 2, Sweet Baby Inc., DEI, and ESG. Oh, that's interesting. We'll need to check that out. Thank you so much, Patriotic Gestalt. I will say this, with a $50 super chat, Simone and Malcolm, you all get to pick what color goes on the wall today. Malcolm, you get to make the pick. What color would you like? Green, purple, red, blue,
red,
orange, or yellow? Oh, red it is. All right.
The answer was obvious.
Patriotic.
Yes, absolutely. Well, very good. Patriotic Gestalt, thank you very much for your support. Blabs, go and read this off while I get Patriotic Gestalt up on the wall, please.
All right. Dan says, boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in stew.
Spoilers. It's one of the best scenes.
And don't look at the poll, okay, Craig?
Yeah, what is that? Is that a reference to?
Just don't worry about it,
Oh, it's
Craig.
fine,
You'll
Craig.
find out.
Will I
understand that in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yes,
If you
will.
remember this, then you'll be like, aha!
How could you forget?
Yeah.
There you go, Patriotic Gestalt.
Samwise is the greatest. There, I said it.
He's my favorite.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, everyone, like young girls, start out wanting a Legolas and then grow up and want a Samwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
You said a
Craig's
bunch of
like,
words
what?
I don't understand.
That's
You'll
fine.
get there, Craig. You'll
Watch,
get there.
Craig's gonna be a Legolas fan.
Well, and Aragorn. But Samwise is my favorite character, but if I had to marry one, it would probably be Aragorn.
I've noticed that very high status women tend to choose Aragorn. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Well, I'm not high status, but that's cool.
You can say that, but you know what? Your actions speak louder than words, is all I'm saying.
Nice. All right. Shane says, Extrazero, get in the game, Tiger. No Diddy.
I'm not sure what he means by that.
No,
What does that mean?
that's great. I don't know
No,
what it
let's
means.
move on from that one. Thomas says, it's not really goodbye. It's see you around. Keep speaking the truth, Melonie. Love
Aw.
you. No homo. That makes it platonic or something, right?
Yes, that's how you do it. Thank you.
Melonie's not dying,
Yeah,
guys.
and I will be back. Don't worry about it.
Sir Neon Stripe says, can we put a poll in to have Savvy as a permanent third host? Yesterday's stream was awesome. Also, I agree with you, Craig. I think Blabs isn't as innocent as she puts on Mistress Blabs. I don't know. What
Savvy is a gem.
Mm.
I freaking love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd like to have Savvy on more and more for sure.
Mm-hmm. Melonie says, Melonie, it'll be sad to see you go from side scroll. She'll be back. But we still got Madam President Blabs. A vote for Blabs is a vote for Boobas.
This is true. Well established many, many times.
Vote for me is a vote for boobs. I'm glad you had it pulled up because I couldn't.
You gotta be on it.
Black Metal Gamer, most woke game you played and most minimal. Hogwarts Legacy, most woke. Just gonna put it right out
That's
there.
pretty woke, but I would also say the Life is Strange games are pretty woke as well. But I think the Life is Strange games are good. Like, especially the first series of games, yeah.
Least woke, Zoo Tycoon 2. 2004. Just animals.
Least woke, man. I'm gonna go a classic Tomb Raider. I always have to throw that in there.
Street
But
Fighter.
I mean, yeah.
Street Fighter 2.
Most woke recently for me was Pacific Driver. Who would think they could put so much politics in a game like that?
Wow.
Spider-Man 2 with Donut County being the runner-up.
How's Donut County?
Donut County is this kind of puzzle game, and it beats you over the head with story. It, like, people described it as being similar to Katamari Damacy, however you want to say it. And basically, you control a hole that gets bigger when it swallows stuff up. But the game's one big giant metaphor for gentrification and social issues surrounding it. It was on Games Pass, and that was like when I really discovered how much story gets in the way of simple concepts, and it could have been a fun, simple game, but it insisted on the story more than the actual gameplay. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is the mess that it is. Least woke, I'd say, is probably Tetris or Asteroids. Like any early game that just is just purely about gameplay.
I like the idea that we're now putting Tetris in the idea like that's non-woke.
Well, I'm just saying, there's
that is a good non-woke game.
there's zero
Literally made by
ideology.
communists.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that Alexei really went along with the politics of his country. I really highly recommend reading about the true story of Tetris. The movie's great too, but reading about the actual story of it, I mean, you know, the way his government treated him and wanted to just, you know, use him for what it was worth. His creation, it's disgusting. But you know, in all, he just wanted to create a fun game, the perfect game.
Well, he did. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's just falling blocks, baby. It's great. It's great. Noodles came in, says, had to search side scrollers manually on YouTube as it didn't have you on the homepage, at least for me. Gonna miss Melonie on the show. Once again, she'll be back. Just relax.
Yes.
Happy for what the future has in store for her. Yep. Noodles, that happens sometimes because YouTube is YouTube. So once again, Locals is a great place to make sure you're notified every single day. We can't control YouTube, but we can kind of control Locals. So consider heading over there. Togo the White says, holy guacamole, base camp on side scrollers. This is not the collab I was expecting, but I am here for it. This episode might get pulled like last week's FNT with a panel like this. Let's go. It's going to be a good one. Cody says, Craig, shame never seeing Lord of the Rings or playing Skyrim. I know, Cody. I know.
Nerd.
Listen, we all have our silos of nerddom. All right?
Yeah, okay. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, seen Star Wars once. You've probably never seen Percy Jackson or any of that stuff.
Hey, talk to me when you know who Samus Aran is.
I do. Metroid, female.
Yeah, I learned yesterday. Yesterday.
Yeah, well, at least I know who Frodo is. Do you?
Yeah, isn't he? He's somewhere. No, I know who Frodo is. I'm not that
Craig,
dumb. Right? Come on.
On the topic of Metroid, you need to do what David Jaffe couldn't and actually play Metroid Dread.
Yes.
I know.
I will get you a copy of Metroid Dread if you want to.
You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
I'm just saying, I will.
Listen, Extrazero did do this, and I have to show this before because I don't like it on my screen anymore. This is the meme.
Wow.
That is good.
That is
Who
good.
wore it better, really? I mean,
So there it
Not a
is.
10.
Thank you for following us on Instagram. You too can get memed.
Love that. Love that.
I need to
Eddie
get
says,
to do it, but it was too much.
Melanie, how come you don't have a
Melanin, Mac.
Melanin Mac.
I am the black representation here today. Yeah, I don't have a butter dish. I don't know what this butter dish discussion is all about, but I heard about it yesterday. No, I don't. I just keep my butter in the wrapper in the fridge.
Yeah. Well, The nice thing about a butter dish too is some of them actually have the little notches on there, so you can measure how much you're using.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
I
what
had
mine
cow in
has.
mine.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm
Hold on.
going to be honest. I didn't even suspect you were black.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, isn't it obvious I'm black?
Wait, you are? I thought you were just native.
No, I'm not really black. My name means black, so it's like, so I tell people, "Hey guys, I'm black," but
well, Melonie now identifies as black. Which is
yeah, that's all you
I
need.
mean, I
Black
don't see
Melanie.
race, so I couldn't tell. I just assumed.
How rude.
well, Malcolm, maybe that's the problem is you don't see race.
They're supposed- that's once this progressive reporter was talking to me, and they go, "Do you really think people should be promoted just based on the quality of their work?" Like they thought they were asking me this big gotcha question, and I was like, "I have this, and I'm gonna go on record with this. I know this is totally racist by today's standards, but I believe people should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin."
What a
And we didn't end
bigot!
up publishing
Yeah,
that. And it really
what kind of
annoyed me.
man would say that?
Yeah,
Monstrous,
it's sort of a
monstrous.
monster.
Wow. I don't even know how we're gonna be able to move on after that.
That's gonna get this pulled down. The statements
Yeah.
like that are pretty radical.
Yeah, you are a far right wing bigot for just thinking that way. And it's funny actually. I think Elon Musk had a tweet about that the other day. Just saying no, it had something to do with like trans kids or something. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty cool with whatever people want to do after they're 18, but kids are kind of my cutoff point." And I was like, "Be careful, Elon. That's a really right wing bigot statement of you." It's like we are in total clown world. So
That sounds pretty transphobic and racist. But I say,
Cody says a bunch of words I don't understand. Turinbar is the best Middle Earth character. Thanks, Cody. Appreciate that. And Captain Agent coming in with a hard $111.11. Says, "Yo, Craig, glad you finally get to witness the greatness that is the best, the most well-written character in book and film history, Boromir."
He's great.
Is that right? Boromir? Did I say it right?
Yes, Boromir.
Yes, you did. Congrats.
I think I made a meme of you as Boromir once, and then I think you were like, "Who?"
That's accurate, yes. And he said, played by the best actor of our time, Sean Bean. Well,
Do you know who Sean Bean is?
Captain Agent going on
my
the
God.
run. Oh, look at that.
That's embarrassing. I'm gonna move on from that before we embarrass Craig some more. Locals tip from Just G. Make it easy. Listen, I'm on to you about the whole DP thing, bro. For $2, you can't control us. DP for the win. It's Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Lord.
Dr. Pepper, let's go.
And Neon Wolf became a brand new monthly supporter over on Rumble, which is outstanding. And 60 Watt says, "I can only Rumble rant once today, so I got to make it count." It's okay. Says it's okay to have a dick, just don't be a dick. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. YouTube hates dicks. Thanks, 60 Watt. Appreciate that. My goodness. All right. Look, we got a lot of Rumble rants, a lot of super chats. We're going to get to every single one of those before the end of the show. We genuinely appreciate your support. I did want to give you a heads up. Today around 2 o'clock, so in about 2.5, 3 hours after the show is done, I have an update on, I sent out a tweet about a month ago after Rooster Teeth kind of faltered and everything about ScrewAttack becoming available. For those of you who don't know, I used to own ScrewAttack, sold it like a long time ago. And I'm going to have a stream talking about that today because I've had a few discussions about that with the parent company that owns it now about potentially buying it back. So I'll be talking about that today around 2 o'clock Central Time. So if you guys are into the idea, it's going to be an open discussion about the pros and cons of it. So make sure you guys are here for that at around 2 o'clock Central Time. So once again, about 2.5 hours after the show is done today. I know a lot of people were curious about that. Let's see. Is there anything else that needs to go on? No, I think that's about it. Blabs, guide us through today in gaming history. What do we got?
Okay, so today is April 5th, in case you didn't know. So that means that Fight Night 2004 is now 20 years old, being released back in 2004. SWAT 4 is 19 years old in 2005. And if you guys ever played the latest Lego Star Wars The Skywalker game, it is now 2 years old, releasing back in 2022, and being my very big disappointment of 2022. The end.
Good job, Blabs.
Star Wars product?
Tell you what, you're really nailing it. Every day you can expect some sort of Star Wars game or Harry Potter game on our list.
I have not put a Harry Potter game on there yet.
Well, it's coming.
Well, obviously.
And who the hell played SWAT 4? I don't even know there was a SWAT 1, 2, or 3.
There was, Craig. Get educated.
It was PC. That's where people played it. I actually played it. I got that in I think it was a Sierra box set with King's Quest and all.
Okay, well,
you're just an old man, Craig.
Speaking of Harry Potter games, who would have thought J.K. Rowling would become such a hero to gamers?
Well, we got a little J.K. Rowling, rolling,
like rolling on a river.
We got a little J.K. coming up a little bit later on today when we get into Clown World, which will be good. So I'm sure Malcolm and Simone, you have plenty to say about that. All right, with that said, it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News.
Hard News.
All right, here we go. We're off to a great start. Listen, you always need a yeehawing cowboy in any intro that you have. It's very important, and I'm glad we do. You, Me, and the Movies, thank you for that. It's wonderful. This popped up the other day, and I think people immediately turned to Melonie Mac when they saw this tweet. And Melonie, I'd like to cue this one up for you right here. As now, there is some nuance here, and I think it's important to reference that. But I'm sure you saw this tweet, Melonie, the tweet about this reporter.
I did.
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead. Well, let me just say the voice actress, Shelley Blonde, I am going to defend her on this. She's not a gamer. She didn't know. This was the outlet's fault. Yeah. This is
journalism here, right here. But the idea of she's talking about Lara Croft, and this is the voice act. Now, the voice actor here, Shelley. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, did she know? Was she playing Lara Croft? Like who is? I'm guessing that's
she is the very first Lara Croft voice actress from 1996. So, yeah. She didn't know. She's not a gamer. She's never been a gamer. So she didn't know. She thought Lara Croft was the first female video game character ever. But yeah, this is where the journalist here should have not put that in the article. They should have known better. But her, I don't hold that against her.
Okay. Well, we needed to get your take on this because this is very important.
I obviously love her very much for bringing Lara Croft to life, so I will defend her.
Okay. That's good. I think everybody saw it and immediately was like, Melonie Mac.
I got tagged in. I was like, oh, yeah, if y'all think I'm gonna drag Shelley Blonde, you're wrong. She can't do anything wrong. Like she could murder a village and I will find a way to defend her.
I was gonna say, chat is right. The first voice actress, for female video games is actually Jennifer Lawrence. So
who's that?
Jennifer Lawrence?
Of course, it's Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah.
I know Jennifer Lawrence, but what did she do?
She's the first female action heroine to
ever
exist.
She's the first to do everything ever. Come on, Craig, what is wrong with you today?
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm a little off my game here. It's Friday. I'm thinking towards the weekend. You're right. Jennifer Lawrence did do everything first, which is great.
Exactly. She gave birth to you, Craig. Come on.
When you say that, and I think of that skit from Saturday Night Live where the lady gives birth to like a full-grown Will Ferrell. Do you remember that skit?
No. That sounds funny though.
It was really funny. Like he comes out, he's covered in all the goo and all that stuff, and he's like, "Rah!" And he's all hairy, and it's awesome. He's like, "Hey, mom, what's up?"
How do you do, mother?
It's a funny skit. Well, anyways, hey, speaking of things that are a little crazy, so far in this crazy video game world, Nintendo has been like the safe haven for all this, away from all this insanity. But a job listing for a position in Redmond, Washington says, hey, they may be getting into the woke DEI stuff after all. This came out yesterday as they are hiring for a local product specialist. And this is over here. They're obviously equal opportunity employer. That's great. But one of the descriptions, part of the descriptions of the duty is to maintain awareness and of culturalization and DEI-related topics, identifying issues and proposing solutions as needed. So up until this point, this is the first time we've really seen Nintendo get into this.
Not true.
Yeah,
Extrazero does.
they've done more woke stuff than people realize. When you look at the localization for Fire Emblem Engage, they took out the gendered language so that the character was that they would call the character my child instead of my son or my daughter. Even with the Bait and Katos remaster, they took out certain parts of the game. Like there was a line of a woman in the kitchen joke with one of the books that you could look at, and they took that out. So I mean, Nintendo has been
Animal Crossing.
what they do with that?
Well, it was choose your style instead of instead of gender, and it's the localizers. I mean, they're all based out of Washington. I mean, what is Washington? I mean, it's very similar to Oregon, and it's very similar to California in terms of ideology and what's out there. And I wonder too if this gets back to Japan. If Japan starts to see this, are we going to have another Crunchyroll situation on our hands where Nintendo could easily say, you know what, we're instead of using you all, we're going to use AI to keep the integrity of our products.
I mean, once wokeism enters these large bureaucracies, because I think in terms of public sentiment within the gaming community, it has firmly turned against wokeism in terms of the consumer base. And I think with most of the indie teams and everything like that just aren't completely brainwashed, we're seeing them pull away from it really, really hard. But at these large companies like Microsoft and Nintendo, if the infection starts there, it is incredibly hard for them to unwoke themselves because they don't feel the market pressures from adopting wokeism in the same way that the smaller studios do, and the way that wokeism spreads within these organizations. Because as soon as it's set up like a DEI department, that means, I don't know if you've ever seen like the surveys they make people take. That means every employee at that company is taking like a thought crime survey, and they are being reminded regularly the type of thoughts they're allowed to have, the type of thoughts they're not allowed to have, and what happens to them if they accidentally, fall afoul of the thought crime police. So I think we could end up with a situation pretty soon where we see still extremely woke action by the large companies, but pretty much none of the indie devs are doing it anymore.
You know, I think what they think is that if they keep pushing this into every facet, like, oh, you can't escape it, you have to accept it as it is what it is. I think Blabs, you've brought it up. And I've experienced it getting back into PC gaming. Like PC is kind of the place to be for stuff that's not impacted by this. And people are more and more, and the statistics are there. You can source this, that people are turning to PC indies and retro games in record numbers. And it's just this, it's unfortunate. I love console gaming. I really do. I mean, I understand its limitations, and I understand the gripes people have with it. And it's not what it used to be. It's not as convenient by any means as it used to be, but there's something comforting about it. And they are really shooting themselves in the foot here, in my opinion, by pushing people away. And I think I said this last time I was on here, is that like stories come before gameplay now, and that's not why we play games. And they're not getting it. Whereas if you play retro and indie, you're getting that game, you're getting that escape, you're getting that gratification from playing a game.
Well, this goes back to, we didn't talk about this on the show, but coming off the Disney stuff the other day, we're talking about, how this ties into the video games with, obviously Nintendo and all this. But there was a story with Disney yesterday where Bob Iger was like, well, nobody really knows what woke means. And Mike Harlow over on X, you guys brought this up before the show goes and before the show went live. And he says, nobody knows what woke means. It's just a lazy and intellectually dishonest excuse to bury one's head in the sand. Woke media replaces character with identity and story with ideology. See how easy was that? There we go. That pretty much nails it right there. I think that's a pretty good explanation.
As much as I love this definition, I do think it's important to elaborate on just how big sort of the woke ideology is. When somebody's like, you haven't described woke well, it's like, well, what does Jewish mean? What does Christian mean? It's an entire world perspective.
Right.
And when a lot of people hear this, they first say to me, they're like, well, come on, you know, you can be any religion and be woke, right? And I'm like, not really. If I talk to like an ultra woke Muslim or an ultra woke Jew or an ultra woke Catholic, they're going to have the same ideas about gender, the same ideas about marriage, the same ideas about our relation to the environment, a broadly similar cosmology, a broadly similar view of what ethics is, a broadly similar view of what a human's goal on earth is. Wokeism is unique as a religious system in that it doesn't require people to abandon their birth religious identity, but it does require total ideological conformity with the system once someone has converted. And then it begins to target all of the networks that you are associated with that are connected to immune or non-woke nodes, which is truly what is so damaging about wokeism when contrasted with other religious traditions, is it doesn't allow its members to talk to or consume a media that non-woke things have touched, which is one of the reasons why they're so effective at like infecting organizations and stuff like that. And it's also why they're so sort of immune to any of the outside criticism that they're facing right now, because they so dehumanize people who are not part of their cultural group, that they don't see their attacks as being meaningful or coming from an honest place.
That was so well said. My goodness, nailed it. And that's how I feel as a Christian. When people expect me to be more woke and to submit to these ideologies, it's like, this is a direct counter to my faith, my religion as a Christian. Just like you said, you can't overlap wokeism with other religions. It counters it. That's refreshing to hear that.
In the same way, so like I'm all for like religions have rules, right? Like if Muslims have a rule about Muslims not drawing Muhammad, that's okay. But when they impose that rule on other cultural traditions without those traditions' consent, that's where I draw the line. And this is what we're seeing with things like trans ideology now. I wouldn't misgender someone because it hurts their feelings. But when they say that somebody from a different religious or cultural tradition that does like has some sort of religious objection to gendering them in the way they want to be gendered won't do that, and they're now saying, I'm going to use the law to force you to do this, that draws a line, because now they have crossed the boundary of consent. And it's so interesting that wokeism cares so much about consent until it is in any way an inconvenience to their ideology.
Right. Yep.
That's such an interesting conversation.
That was perfect. That was great.
I think that's way to go, Malcolm. You've clearly thought about this.
But we have to win. It's people are going to start dying soon. You look at what's been happening in the FAA. You look at what's been happening with pilot training. You look at what's been happening with like at Boeing and stuff like that. Like I'm just talking about the airline industry here, not even what's happening with doctors and stuff like that. When you get a system that puts ideology before competence, you end up with Chernobyls. And we're going to have an American Chernobyl before we know it. I mean, yeah, in gaming, it sucks that it messes up my hobby, but I also am more afraid of when a lot of people die.
Right.
Well, so, you know, and people will listen to this and be like, you sound crazy. Like I saw there's a guy in the chat. He's like, yeah, sound like you're insane, right? and we would. This goes back to the conversation we had a couple days ago. We had John on who really doesn't quite understand like why there's anger about this stuff in the video game space. And really what it comes down to for a lot of this stuff is it's a trickle-down effect, right? It's the idea like, why does it matter that Nintendo is starting to look at this stuff? What does it matter? You know, it's all, and because it trickles into pop culture, it trickles into everything that is a part of our day-to-day lives. And ultimately it trickles into hiring practices and not hiring based off of meritocracy, but based off of, people that probably shouldn't have had the job to begin with because they got taken over. They were given the opportunity based off of the color of their skin, as opposed to someone who may have more education or maybe better skilled. And that's not right. it's clearly not right.
Worse than that. So it's not just the color of their skin that they're elevating. It is a racist progressive idea of what Black people are like. And I think where we see this really clearly is in the recent FAA scandal. For people who aren't familiar, flight controllers, they were given an additional test to try to fix their incorrect race mix within people who run flight control towers. And obviously it's really important that we get good people in these jobs, but they couldn't just directly ask them their race. So they asked them questions like, what was your least favorite subject in school? The correct answer was science. How do you deal with criticism from authority? The correct answer was, I deal very poorly with it. And do you like to take risks? And the correct answer was, I like to take risks. Only 10% of the people who took this passed. And that's the people who are coming in as this next class of people who are going to be working flight control towers. So it's not even ethnicity that they are vetting around. It is a racist idea of ethnic stereotypes.
I don't understand what's so hard to understand. like people will point fingers, and I don't think I know like people in our sphere, our friends, they get pointed at, oh, those racists, those bigots. And it's like when people talk about diversity in the gaming space, we want diversity. Like, go back to our panel. Actually, Melonie, you weren't on Tuesday night, but we had it was the picture of diversity. Right? You had Black people, you had white people, you had Latino people, you had gay people, and there was 10 of us there, and that was the picture of diversity. But all those people are racist bigots, right? Of course,
They take minority groups and then they wear them to hide, and then when somebody deviates, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black, that famous Biden line, right? They police their cultural identities. I think one of the most interesting things is in the last election cycle, 45% of gay men voted for Trump. And yet the left uses the pride flag as if it is their symbol.
If you would like more of Malcolm and Simone, you can find them over on the Camp channel, right? I think that's a great way. I saw someone in the chat. I was like, do they have a channel? Yes, they do. It links in the description as well. That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you, let's go with something a little bit lighter here, which could turn into something a little bit more, but we'll see. There's a new movie coming out that Blabs really wanted to talk about, and this movie is called Nightbitch.
Oh no, that's not me who was very thorough about it. That was Extrazero.
I saw this morning trending, and I was like, I was going through trending on Twitter. I was like, Nightbitch, and then Amy Adams was also trending, and I was like, oh, it's the same. And then this premise. Now look, I actually think this could be amusing. It's a horror thriller about a woman who
idea.
thinks she's turning into a dog. I mean, look, if they have fun with it like Cocaine Bear did,
yeah,
this could be awesome.
You wonder.
So she's giving golden retriever vibes, though. Yeah.
I'll say this.
I
you know
see
what?
it.
What I told Blaz before the show was, if you really want to be scared, all you need to do is go to a college, and you'll find a couple of girls there who think they're dog anyways, and you got yourself a real life survival horror thriller right there.
Chat's like, where's the peanut butter? Oh no!
Why? Why, you guys? Wow.
Dishonor on you.
Oh, you guys! I'll tell you what.
The proliferation of furry culture into the mainstream.
I'll tell you this. We, speaking of the furry culture, I've been doing this for a long time, and we had a guy who worked for us. His name was Nick, and we had a toucan outfit back in the day, and he was like the mascot of this company that we had that called the ScrewAttack company, and so we'd send Nick out in a toucan outfit to go to these furry conventions, and it was like the most degenerate people. I'm not saying everybody there, but the people that we spoke to were it was one of those where you're like, okay.
Right. I have to argue here. Furries are trad AF. I see some women out there being like, oh, I'm trad. I'm dressed like somebody who lived in like the 1950s. I'm like, furries, this is like ancient Egyptian shit right here, man.
Geez, now I'm never gonna be able to look at hieroglyphics the same way.
From the 1200s, dancing around a fire in animal costume.
There's nothing more traditional than that.
Well, anyways, I guess we'll look for the new horror film Nightbitch coming soon, starring Amy Adams. Which, by the way, Amy Adams, pretty hot.
I love her
Oh,
voice.
she is, yeah.
She's a great singer.
What's she sing? Is she in?
She's an Enchanted. Giselle.
Oh, that's right. She was Giselle in Enchanted. Yeah, she's
One of
pretty
the
good.
best Disney movies they've made in the early 2000s. Really.
Great movie.
I love it. I did not watch the second one. I refuse. I was like, no.
It's
I don't wanna
really
be
bad. Don't.
See, I don't want to be tainted. There's only one movie. That's it.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next story inside the video game world. We're talking about this weekend is your last chance to play your 3DS and Wii U games online. If you're still playing your Wii U game online, all right. But this is the final weekend as the 3DS and Wii U services will be going down. So show of hands, has anybody turned on their Wii U in the last 6, 7, 8 years? And is anybody still playing the 3DS? Will this affect anybody on this panel?
Well, I don't do online stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do. I have like Fire Emblem games on my Wii U, and I play 3DS sometimes.
I've never owned a 3DS, so I don't have that. But the Wii U I have. But I never even went on the online for the Wii U either. Just mostly because there was no internet when I had the Wii U for good chunks.
Yeah.
I was offline.
Curious if this affects anybody in the chat. I'm sure it'll affect a few folks just from a statistical standpoint, but this actually leads to a larger conversation though. With servers going down, some people won't have access to like literally full games. Maybe not necessarily with the Wii U, but this has been an ongoing conversation the last few days, and we've had a couple super chats that have come in that have asked about this. And this specifically is from a video from a channel called Accursed Farms. I don't know if you guys have seen this video popping around, but so this gentleman is talking about he's putting together a campaign to more or less stop your games from disappearing. And the idea being that now games are an online service, and that at any point, once the servers that are run by these companies are pulled, the games are also pulled as well.
I'd love to see that guy get in touch with Louis Rossman.
No, why Louis Rossman?
Well, so Louis Rossman's been. Do you know who he is? He's a big face in Right to Repair, and he's actually been making. I'll link you to him after the show. But he's been making a lot of videos about, how he views the purchase of digital goods, and been making a big crusade about it. I mean, Louis talked about the Sony thing in depth, where they were, all this forced arbitration that they do, where they write these long EULAs that no one can agree to, and that a lot of times children are agreeing to legal documents. And I mean, look, I mean, how many kids own the 3DS? It was probably a huge portion. How many kids own the Wii U? Probably a huge portion. Right. And they have to go through all these long EALUs. They describe it as a purchase, and Louis is very frank about this. When you call something a purchase, but really in the document you're calling it, there's a lot of legalese that says it's not really a purchase. It's more of a long-term rental agreement. Something's got to give. Yeah.
And right. I check out the Digital Games Museum in Palo Alto. If you guys are interested in this, they've been working on this particular task for about a decade now, or more.
Digital Games Museum. I haven't even heard of this before.
Yeah, they are. It's a museum in the Bay Area that's dedicated to the preservation of the history of gaming.
And are they digitizing all games, or are they digitizing I think the big thing for people like me is you do download games on your Switch, on your whatever, and these are digital only games that never saw a physical release. And oftentimes, if you miss the window to buy them, or in this case, like the 3DS or the Wii U going off, like you never have an opportunity to buy those games again, and therefore they're kind of lost in history. But in this situation with Accursed Farms, he's talking about the idea that once these companies decide to end their service, then literally the game is just void. You spent $60 on it and on nothing.
Well, and if you're talking about people from our generation, this is something that I would think that you and me have probably experienced with the online video games of our youth, those old Flash games, if you remember.
Right.
So many of those were some of the games I played the most growing up. And
Yeah.
they're things that I just don't know if I can find anymore, like Madness and stuff like that.
Newgrounds is still kicking. Like I went on Newgrounds not long ago, and I was
Really?
surprised that stuff.
Really?
that-
I love
yeah.
Newgrounds.
Because,
Here's
like-
my claim to nerd fame. At one point, I had watched every single video uploaded to YouTube. That is how early I got into this stuff.
It's awesome.
I went to see if like stuff like the old Pico stuff was still there. Sure enough, it is. And on top of that, like the old my first exposure to Newgrounds was the Mr. T video, where it was like Mr. T was the one that actually killed Tupac for eating his Cheetos.
Sounds very Newgrounds right there.
It was super Newgrounds, and this was like, I remember this was like 99, and I remember like telling my friend about it. I watched it before school, and it was like, oh my god, there's this cartoon where it's Mr. T was the one that killed Tupac because he ate his Cheetos. And that's still there, and I love it. I love that that's still there. If you ever go on the Internet Archive, they have some licensed games that have disappeared, and like Melee Games, I was telling him about it because you know, he was having a hankering to play a good Wolverine game, and I was like, you know, you can legally get X-Men Origins Wolverine on Internet Archives. I think there just needs to be something like, look, if a game can no longer be, if a piece of media can no longer be sold because it's in some sort of legal limbo, there should be laws that say that it can be distributed. You know, if there's no legal channels for distributing it, like if you don't have the legal means of distributing it, then there should also be no illegal ways of obtaining it, if you get what I'm saying. Like it should go into some sort of public domain, I think.
Somebody should draft legislation to that effect. I bet it could get passed. I think Rise of Legends falls into that status, which makes me really sad.
Well, and I think it goes back to what Accursed Farms is actually asking for is putting pressure on whatever government you're in, and then ultimately having it trickle down to these companies and hold them accountable, you know, and allow you, the consumer of the product, to actually have what you bought instead of something that you rented for an extended amount of time. So
doesn't this encourage piracy? You know, if you have something and they're like, no, you have no means of experiencing this. You can't experience this. This was, you know, okay, so what's the harm in finding a means of playing it? Why are you turning, you know, your would-be customers into criminals if you're unwilling to make a product available?
Well, just so you guys know, my dad just texted me. I always like to let you know when my parents text me throughout the show. And this is the first for my dad, by the way. My dad had texted just simply, "Great fun show." So,
Oh, how
Hey, Dad.
nice.
good to see you. You know, speaking of fun shows, I just wanted to pull this up real quick because this may blow Extrazero's mind. Is this the video that you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
How long is it?
It's
right now?
short. You should be able to play it.
Let's see. See what we
All
got.
right.
They even bleeped the curses, if I remember.
Oh, good. All right, let's see what we got.
Oh,
I'm
that's
very
great.
excited to see how Mr. T died.
Here's that Mr. T.
No.
Yo, Tupac, you wanna hit this joint while we sitting at the light?
No, I'm exhausted after that party. I'd rather just go back to the hotel room and take a bubble bath and read a book.
Who the fuck is that? Hey, Tupac, pull your window down. Tupac, pull your window down. You ate my Cheetos at the party, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You ate my Cheetos, didn't you?
I did.
Don't act, no, look at your fingers.
Stop.
They're orange. They're orange, Tupac. You ate my Cheetos, didn't you? What? You don't talk to me. I've been in a fool eating my Cheetos, motherfucker. Had a fingers on it. Eat that motherfucker.
Oh, that's awful.
Amazing.
That's an internet classic.
Amazing.
Representative of humor of that time period.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Extrazero just went back a decade or so. But
There's also a prequel video to that where it was Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan set him up.
wow.
That's probably not safe for YouTube because there's a thing with Stone Phillips and Maria Shriver in there. Well,
Oh my.
Well, and that is a great reason why we need to protect our video games.
And that means rip Nintendo Wii U services.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Hey, real quick, just a heads up. Look at this. This is spectacular. Ian came in with 10 gifted memberships to the channel. Ian, thank you very much. I'm going to get you on the wall.
You have to do it's Ian. You got to ooh him.
I don't need to ooh-woo anybody.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. Listen, we need to get one person to ooh-woo, and that's Savvy. Savvy's
That's
ooh-woo.
true. We just need her baseline. So if she's not here, we can just go boop.
Yep.
Perfect.
Ian, thank you very much. If you guys got gifted a membership, make sure you say a thank you and consider paying it forward. Ian, look at that. Look at that right there.
Just look at it.
Look at it. Hey, my red's filling up over here.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's keep on moving.
A nice hoodie, by the way, Craig.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. You guys like that?
Oh, that's awesome.
I've just noticed that. When did you get that?
I got it. It came in a couple days ago. I believe it is available.
Shirt, Craig?
I appreciate that. Hey, if you guys would like some Side Scrollers merch, you can pick it up right now. Link is in the description right there. The Side Scrollers All-Star shirt available right now until the end of the month or until they're gone. Go pick it up right now. Appreciate that. Once again, we see all your super chats, all your Rumble rants. We will get to them before the end of the show. Thank you guys very much for your support. Awesome stuff. Let's continue to move on. Let's go to our lead story today, as this is just absolutely crazy. I'll tell you what. Simone, question for you. Have you spent any time in the digital world of Grand Theft Auto?
I have not.
Not good. You strike me as a guy who probably has.
I've played all the games, but none of the online ones.
Okay. And Melonie, I just got a sneaking suspicion that if you ever got into the world of GTA Online, that you'd be quite a handful.
I did. I actually played on the role-playing servers before, so that was fun. Yeah, I got kicked out of the game because I didn't want to wear pink.
And here you are today wearing pink.
I know. I'm trying to get back
Circle.
in the gang.
Well, I'll tell you what. You could have caused some chaos after getting booted out of your server, by doing all sorts of things. But alas, GTA Online and GTA 6, there are some new guidelines that are in place to combat toxic players. And this is something that will drastically affect Grand Theft Auto moving ahead, as unfortunately, Rockstar has taken a stand against cheating, griefing, and harassment in GTA Online by implementing new community guidelines. I would also like to remind everybody that you're playing a game called Grand Theft Auto that has so much murder and death in it.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto is supposed to be toxic.
I don't know. Give it a couple months, and they're just you're going to be picking up, Uber rides. Just waiting
For real.
in your app. Yeah,
Yes.
driving around town, picking up groceries, delivering them.
Right, exactly. You'll be it'll be an Uber simulator.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Here's the TLDR that Rockstar Games is implementing new community guidelines for GTA Online, aiming to curb cheating, griefing, and player harassment that have plagued the game for years and made it the most popular game in history.
Yeah.
The guidelines, divided into fair play, respect, and safety categories, outline clear rules and consequences for unacceptable behavior, including temporary account suspensions and potential reports to law enforcement.
What?
What?
Okay.
Wow.
If that's not the most ironic thing, given the source material.
I got arrested for something I did in Grand Theft Auto. I love that you can now actually get arrested for something you do in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, my goodness.
The changes come as no surprise to longtime players, as the game's design ironically contributes to the toxicity. Yes, you think? But Rockstar's efforts represent a commendable step towards making GTA Online, here it is, more welcoming and enjoyable for all, which is great. So that's where we're at now, as Grand Theft Auto is now looking to stop. Like, look, I get the idea of stopping cheating in the game, right? Somebody's bringing that in. I get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the griefing is one of the most fun things you could possibly do in a video game.
Yes.
And Melonie, if you could just give a brief description of griefing to everybody, just for fun, just for those who may not be familiar with griefing.
Griefing, man, I don't even know if I'm going to define this very well, but I mean, the way I see it is just kind of trolling people and just trying to poke at them and trying to get them tilted, trying to get them tilted. Yeah.
Right. In the new guidelines that they have, they broke it up into the 3 different areas. It says under the fair play section, Rockstar has vowed to crack down on the use of hacks, exploits, and other third-party software that gives players unfair advantage. Cool, got it. I think that's all fair, right? You want to get unlimited monies or whatever. You want to have unlimited guns or whatever. Okay, well we'll crack down on that. Griefing, the act of intentionally annoying or interfering with other players, will also warrant punishment up to and including temporary suspensions of the account. Okay.
That's no fun. I would never want to play if I couldn't do that. What's the point? It's Grand Theft Auto.
Well, also too, it's like, Helldivers has been celebrated because people are getting into character playing their games.
Yeah.
And, I remember playing GTA 5 10 years ago on we all picked it up on PlayStation 3. We picked up a 360, but I remember playing with a buddy, and he would get in character. He made his character like Trevor, and he was just all about chaos. And he'd sit in like the back seat of a car and just pull a hand grenade and just go, "Hey, does anybody hear something? Or anybody hear that?" And then we'd all blow up and we'd have a good laugh. It's a game where you create chaos, and yet you're trying to control griefing.
Well, 100%. And this goes to a larger question, right? The griefing is the act of intentionally annoying or interfering with other players. Mm-hmm. Annoying is very subjective.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Where's the line for annoying? If you go up to somebody and, I don't know, let's say you misgender them, is that a bigger act of violence than throwing a grenade at somebody as you go by in a car? I mean, and will you have your account temporarily suspended because of that?
I'd be much more concerned about we'll report you to the police thing, especially considering Scotland's new laws. People could literally be going to jail over this.
Yeah.
Well, in the respect guidelines, and there is truth in that, Malcolm, for sure. At least it appears. It says the respect guidelines prohibit harassment, identity theft, and sharing of graphic content, with Rockstar making it clear it will not tolerate players who try to ruin the experience for others. Many would assume that adults would be the main problem, but they'd be surprised to see the number of kids in lobbies terrorizing new players. Hey, Melonie, I was just curious. Grand Theft Auto, what is that rated?
Yeah, it's very mature.
Rated for mature, right? So you should be how old to play? I believe it's 18?
17, I think, for mature.
18, right?
Man,
Okay.
when I was a teenager and I would play games like RuneScape and Gunbound, I was always griefing people. That's part of the fun. You want, and these are like, very kid-friendly games, especially Gunbound. But that was just part of it. It's like you wanted to taunt people, you wanted to get them tilted, and it raised the stakes.
Well, this goes back to, it's pointed out in the chat. Where did I say? I just saw, no graphic content in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
well,
it's a game about murder and hookers and death and gangs and violence and drugs. I'm sorry, what?
The way I see it is, Saints Row was a response to the fact that when next gen systems hit back in that generation, there was no Grand Theft Auto yet. So Saints Row popped off as a competitor. I just see this as Rockstar setting themselves up for somebody to make their own game and in the spirit of what GTA originally was. So I kind of am a little bit white-pilled on this. Like, yeah, they might drop the ball here, but I think this is just going to inspire some studio or some team of developers to create something that has all of the signatures of the early days of GTA Online, and they're going to eat Rockstar's lunch.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that with the innovation of AI in the gaming space, it's going to make the production of games that feel AAA much, much less expensive in the next 10 years or so. And we are going to see more and more of these small studios, like we've seen with like Polyworld and Helldivers, genuinely competing with the AAA studios.
Yeah. Well, also, when you don't have to design games by committee, you can actually focus on designing the game.
Mhm.
I understand like crunch is a real thing in the tech sector, but I think Jason Schreier, and I can speak as somebody that has worked in the tech sector. I think it really just comes down to like, we didn't realize our deadlines snuck up, and you guys are going to have to work nights and weekends. I get that it's really bad for some people, and I've been in those spaces. But I also think that when you have a smaller studio and you don't have to go through committees and bureaucracy to make a good product, or the product that you want to make, you can do it with a much smaller staff than people really give credit to.
Well, I'll tell you what, Captain Agent comes in and nails this with the $20 super chat. Says, ruining the experience of others. Can I report Rockstar to themselves for ruining my experience by implementing these stupid rules? Thank you, Captain Agent. Appreciate that. That is outstanding. I want to continue because there is one last part of this, the safety guidelines. This is the third bucket of things. And this article says, most important of all, the safety guidelines address the most egregious offenses, encouraging violent extremism, illegal activity, suicide. I can't say suicide on YouTube. Suicide, and self-harm
in Minecraft
will result in several penalties, including potential reports to the law enforcement. So, Malcolm, there you go, right there. And once again, what specifically do all of these things mean? Right? Encouraging these things, like if somebody in a game was like, hey, go off yourself or something like that, which is said 7,000 times a moment on GTA. Are they all going to be reported to law enforcement for saying that? And here's a larger question I have for you guys. In the previous article, in the previous paragraph, he says the number of kids in lobbies terrorizing new players. You can't you're going to report these children to law enforcement?
Yeah.
I think that's the plan. I mean, the way totalitarian regimes often work is they implement laws that everyone is going to break so that they can arrest or otherwise silence anyone who they don't like for whatever other reason, because they know that everyone has broken the law at some point. Yeah. That's how communist and totalitarian systems often work, and they're just beginning to implement that in our world now.
Yeah, and all it takes is one or two kids made into an example for parents to say, little Timmy, little Jane, don't say this, don't do this, think this way. It goes back to, I think, like what Larry Fink was saying about forcing change, and it's kind of creepy how much that extends.
I was curious how many players play GTA Online, right? And this goes back to the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected group that we've talked about. And in every group, no matter how big your community, your fellowship, your whatever it gets, you're going to have some bad actors in them, right? The vast majority of people are going to be pretty cool. And then you have your people who take it a little too far, right? Whether that's in, the SBI group, whether that's in, the other side of it, right? You're looking at the extremes of all this, right? And when you have a GTA Online, which literally has millions of players, the average of GTA throughout the month of February, this month, was over 100,000 players, right? So you have 100,000 players online. Yeah, there's going to be a couple cuckoos in there, and they're going to take things a little too far, right? But the vast majority of people are playing GTA Online because they want to, and it goes back to what I said a couple days ago. Video games are about escapism. They're trying to escape, right? It is fun to go in and do things in GTA that you would never do online or never do in real life. I mean, that's the fun, that's literally why you do it. And you wonder if GTA 6, if this will hurt GTA 6 at all. GTA 5 is like the biggest game ever as far as sales. I mean, maybe not total sales, but it's just over the last 10 years or so since GTA 5 has been released, it's consistently in the top 10 of sales every single month. And it's continuing to grow, but you wonder if this will affect GTA 6 at all. My gut says it probably won't. But I do think that you'll see some of the message implemented into it as well. So
I think initially it won't, but I think in the long term it will. And I think what they want is they want to have that success story. Like, well, this had all the ideology in here, and it's one of the biggest successes of all time. And that's, again, like with the tendrils getting in and infesting larger facets of gaming up to and including Nintendo. It's like they want to have that big win so they can say, oh, your whole get woke, go broke narrative is fundamentally broken. Because there's a lot of people out there that like GTA 6 could be like a interactive story about anything to do with it, just because it has a label on it, people will buy it day one. It's the Metal Gear Solid 2 effect all over. It's like I don't think many people love the story in Metal Gear Solid 2, but everybody bought it, even though people are like, yeah, you don't play a Solid Snake like for the whole game. People bought it, and again, it's like it had those great initial sales, and there was a lot of faith that they had to restore when it came to Metal Gear Solid 3, like up to saying Snake is the only hero this time.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to take a second, and I know Malcolm, you guys got to roll out.
No, I'm good. I just rebooted.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, brother. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Once again, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys go over and check out the Based Camp channel over on YouTube. You can find them over at Simone and Malcolm, youtube.com/@Simone and Malcolm. Once again, the link will be in the description down below. All right, well, appreciate you guys hanging out. Let's move on to another quick one. Well, I guess not really quick one, but another fun story. Stellar Blade is obviously, that's one of the big hot topic games. It's the number one game in the world right now. It's from a pre-order perspective, and this is coming from well, actually, let's go to Grum's first right here. The creator of Stellar Blade was asked about Western journalists, and we'll get to that in just a second. But his response was really pretty amazing when asked about them. But the game has been a really big, a hot button game because of the character design of the lead character. She has boobs and a butt, and she's attractive and stuff. Malcolm, I would love to hear your thoughts on the whole Stellar Blade.
He made the horrible mistake of making a character attractive. This has actually been one of the most interesting political shifts I think we have seen in the past 5 years or so. I was at this big political event for like conservatives in the UK, and there were literally people on stage talking about banning pornography. And I was like, do you know where the parties have gone? Male sexuality is now completely on the conservative side since the Tracer Butt scandal. And the question I have, because I genuinely wonder this, why are they like criminalizing attractive females? Why are they pretending that women don't have bodies like this? One, that in a way dehumanizes the women who this was actually modeled on, because it was modeled after a real woman, right? So they're saying, what, she's not a real woman? But worse, like, why do we need to live in this ugly world? And I think one of the hallmarks of all this was Starship Troopers, when they tried to create a parody of rightism, and they ended up showing that leftism was never really about equality, because in this world they had equality, they had gender equality, they had racial equality. And the director of it, he said, well, I wanted people to know that it was supposed to be like an evil world, and so I made all of the main characters attractive. And I was like, imagine how twisted your mind has to be to think that people see a group of attractive people and their immediate thought is they must be the bad guys.
Yeah.
That's right. It's usually how it is right there. But what's
and they
interesting
always
is
go after the female characters, because there's so many attractive male characters that we see in games. Look at Devil May Cry 5. Like there's just very attractive male characters there, but where were these journos when that came out?
Well, even like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, where all the dudes are shirtless and big and bulky, like they definitely doubled down on making the men attractive in all those games. But it's I guess Street Fighter's exempt because people are complaining that they had Cammy's original costume in there. But look at the people writing about this being problematic. Look at them. And they're the ones that are projecting their voice, and people get upset when people like us want to make our voices heard to have a counter argument. They're like, no, you can't say that, because they want to see their standards in games.
I mean,
Well-
Street Fighters is such an interesting case, or you know, Mortal Kombat. I think even because the fatalities are so brutal in that, and nobody complains about that anymore. And yet, slightly sexualized women that you could have gotten away with in the gaming industry in the 80s is now completely off the table. And I mean, I genuinely, like, I've seen a lot of theories on this, and I'd love your guys' take. Is it that they are trying to normalize ugliness because they want themselves to do better within sexual marketplaces? Or do they believe that somehow attractiveness is intrinsically immoral?
Well, many are arguing that there's a larger psyops taking place, not, you know, intentionally organized by anyone, but very subconscious, whereby if you even look at children's books, everything's gotten uglier, everyone's gotten uglier. There's kind of this race toward mediocrity or toward even the bottom quartile that is kind of hard to avoid. And it's showing up in the gaming industry, of course, like it's showing up everywhere else. I mean, you're also seeing less, we'll say, sexually dimorphic women in movies as well. Everyone's becoming a lot more androgynous.
Yep.
And everyone's becoming, I mean, they're still gorgeous because it's movies and TV and everything, but still we're moving away from any form of dimorphism or difference. And that's what's going on with culture. Is woke culture in general is a homogenizing effect. It's not trying to allow for diversity. As Malcolm says, it only favors diversity in victims, not in actual integrated members.
Well, and this is really interesting. What happens when you have a figure, right? And you a female, and you take away the breasts and you take away the butt, you have created the image of a prepubescent female. And that is now what is intrinsically being sexualized by removing the gender dimorphic characteristics. And to elaborate on Simone's point, if we aren't really different, like if men and women aren't really different, what's the point of diversity? Diversity only has value if we are different. And so when the left says they value diversity, this is what we mean by they value diversity in victims. They value diversity in targets. They don't actually value the ways that humans are different from each other.
Well, and that is what makes Sydney Sweeney so wonderful. Is that you have a beautiful young lady who is not afraid of showing off her wonderful body, and I think that's awesome. I think, like, you know, but then we go back to video games, and it's like, what is realistic about the characters in Fist of the North Star? Have you ever seen anybody like this ever in real life? And the answer is no, except
you just
for
walk
one
around
person.
and you see that.
Right.
I don't know. I think I bear a resemblance.
There's really only one person that bears resemblance to that, and that is Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse.
All right, I got a meme template I gotta take care of.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. So yeah, I mean, this is an ongoing thing for sure, and there we are. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's go back to the story here with Stellar Blade. Let's talk about he was asked about the Western media outlets, and this is the creator of Stellar Blade. He said, and the question was related to this: some Western media outlets have expressed their discomfort with the portrayal of female characters in Stellar Blade. Are you aware of these issues? Right? And I'd really like to kind of put this in a funnel and kind of start at the top and work our way down here. The idea of some Western media outlets, right? That's written by some people on their staff, so really it comes down to a couple people in the media in the West have an issue or have discomfort over this. And his response says, I know that in the West, game characters have to reflect realistic appearances in many ways, which I don't think that's true at all. And that many issues like gender and racial diversity are intertwined. However, Stellar Blade is only a cultural and entertainment product. I hope you'll keep an eye on this as a fun action game as just been released. It's pretty much going like, hey, it's an effing game, man. Like, just chill with it.
Yeah.
And obviously, the response has been great, as they're number one in literally all of these markets here in pre-orders right now. So, Melonie, you were going to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love to see this, that video games used to were, and this is why I like to play a lot of older games more, is they were just video games. They didn't try to change the world and change people's perspectives on life. And so it is refreshing to see him say that, hey, this is a video game. I'm not trying to tackle social issues, this, that, or the other. I'm not trying to preach at you. This is just a fun video game to play. And you also see that reflected in the fact that there's no microtransactions in this game either. There's a new game plus, there's outfits that you can unlock, and it is starting to feel a lot more like the good old games that we had before.
Peggy muted. Boomer.
I'm over here trying to type. Yeah, I think that's the hope, right? When it comes to all this, that people just want to play their games and enjoy their games.
Yeah.
And you know what? When that happens, it blows up. It's great.
And keyword being game. Like I will be honest. I downloaded the demo. I played through it. It's not for me. I respect what the game's doing and you know how it's structuring itself as a game. That said, I can say that I didn't enjoy the gameplay. It's not for me. I don't think it's bad, but I think to Melonie's point, it's just like, you know, and I've been saying this, it's like so many projects, they come out and they're talking about the story, the characters, the story. When do you hear about fun? When you hear about the gameplay? And everything with Stellar Blade, aside from, you know, the fact that people are sensationalizing Eve's design, I hear them talking a lot about the gameplay, how they designed the combat, how they wanted to do their take on the Souls, you know, on like a Souls design. And you know, people are talking about how they enjoy the combat and the fun. You know, Mark the Cyborg was talking about how he liked the parry system and how he liked their take on doing bonfires. So did Endymion. People are talking about the game. They're not talking. I mean, they're talking about Eve, but every conversation I see, they're talking about the game, not the story. And I think that's something that's getting lost in this space. Is people are so concerned with narratives and stories that they don't want to talk about games or fun.
It's really interesting that the controversies around gaming now, for people who are around the gaming space in the old days, when Des would do controversial things, it was so different. Like I'm reflecting now on the controversy around like Black and White. If any of you guys remember that one.
Peter Molyneux.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it was always like, or the controversy around Spore. I think that was the same guy or with it a different. Yeah. And it's always like over promising and stuff like that. Much closer to the controversies we have around God, what was that one with the Starship that blew up a while back? But, you know, we never had these politics controversies outside of stuff like Mortal Kombat or something for gore. It's really fascinating that the way that people have tried to become more aggressive with games has just completely transformed.
There's a lot of truth in what you said. And I wish I could say that this stuff hasn't always been there. You know, obviously what happened a decade ago with Gamergate 1, you know, I've said this many times. I did not have my ear to the ground the first time around, right? I was so busy worrying about growing my other business and all that stuff before, you know, as it just kind of went by as it happened. But I'll tell you what, man, as I've learned about it, as I've talked to people on both sides of it, it's been really fascinating. But see it bubble up again in such a capacity it's crazy. It's crazy that we're in this we're back here again.
Well, the thing about this new Gamergate that is so interesting, and it really reminds me of the old Gamergate, and it was something that was elucidated for me because of something my wife said when we were talking about this on our show, is she's like, when I explained the situation to her, she's like, that's just indefensible. Like, why are they defending this? And it was the same as the first Gamergate when she was reflecting on that. She's like, but it was just so indefensible. And I think it's been something I've been thinking about recently, because I think it's where the far woke crowd gets into problems, is that they cannot admit fault on their own side if that fault is over stringent interpretation of their cultural rules. And because of that, they will always double down on the stupidest stuff in a way that I think really makes it hard for them. And I think it's the reason why they've started losing a lot of ground. You know, with the original Gamergate, it was, you know, using her sexuality to get ahead, right? In journalism in a way that, but because she fell on it in a feminist way to try to defend herself, they could not admit any fault on her part. With this new Gamergate, even though, you know, these people are obviously like racist, obviously like should not be injecting this stuff into games, and the games are objectively performing worse in sales, they cannot say, well, we need to do less DEI. And I almost think that this, because we've seen this in other areas with wokeism, like trans people in sports. Like, it's easy to defend trans people and everything else, but when you get to trans people in sports, I think it gets a little ridiculous. But they can't back down from that particular point because it is an over strict interpretation of their cultural value system. And I think that this actually reveals the woke like larger mechanisms core weakness is you can bait them with this now. When you recognize this about their system, find little instances where they are just completely, there's no realistic excuse for their behavior, elevate those in the public media, and then they will counter elevate it and make it a point that they can't back down on. And this is also something we kept seeing in the BLM stuff. They kept choosing, even though there were like good Black victims that could have been like heads of the move, like figureheads to focus on, they kept choosing like the worst people because they would be baited by the right into choosing those people. Mm-hmm. And they think that this is where we need to go with this because it is indefensible.
Well, you see this. Listen, you're on fire today, Malcolm, and I love it. This was just sent my way in my DMs, and this is really funny. You're talking about the standards of women in video games as it comes back to Stellar Blade. This is a pretty fun little analogy from I don't even know if he wants me to say, but he says, this is Barbie throughout the years has been the center of controversy because feminists claim she represents an unrealistic, unhealthy, and unfair standard of beauty, leading to a, quote, crisis for young girls and their self-esteem. And this is He-Man.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff. So I can't imagine we're all like, Mel, I know you did a story about how there's this one journalist who's like, these women are going to be unaliving themselves because of this game. Like, what was that about?
Yeah, that was IGN France. This guy basically just goes on this gigantic rant saying women are going to be unaliving themselves because they can't match these beauty standards. This game is going to kill women, is what he's saying. Or he also said, this is going to encourage men to beat women. How?
Sorry, I love this while they're standing the healthy at every size community, where women are actually literally dying.
Yes.
These Haze activists dying from obesity, and they're talking about this. What woman sees a video game character and is like, well, I guess that's it for me.
Yeah, can you give one example of where that has ever happened? Just don't think it exists. I
saw a meme the other day I loved where it was this guy going to the gym. He's a scrawny, nerdy dude, and there's like, it's like one of the girls that at the gym like recording herself, and she's like, look at him, his form's terrible. And then then the second panel is the guy's gotten a little bit bigger. She's like, I wonder what his deal is. He's still here. Obviously, his heart must have been ripped out, and that's why he's here. And then the third panel is he's like jacked and he's like benching, and she's like, seriously, I don't understand what this guy's deal is. And then he goes back and he's putting on a Goku costume. Because literally the whole thing was the guy just wanted to go to a Comic-Con and better himself in the process.
Amazing.
It's like he took Goku as a positive. Mm-hmm. None of us can really be Goku, but it's just like how many dudes have and I've known a lot of men and women who've gotten into shape just to go to cons and cosplay.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And there's a lot of truth. I also think that there's a lot of that when it comes to how men and women are different. The idea that I grew up watching Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV being chiseled and jacked and being like, whoa, that's awesome. I want to be like that. And I wonder if, I can't speak because I'm not a woman, but when you as women watched a movie and you saw someone that was like a beautiful woman, were you like, wow, I want to be like that? Or wow, I feel really bad about myself? Because
that's the thing. I feel like most women are like that. If most women look at how the Kardashians wouldn't be famous if this wasn't a thing. You see them, you see even like K-pop artists, things like that. A bunch of girls follow them because they think they're beautiful and they're inspired by that. Oh, I want to learn how to do my makeup like that. Or, with Lara Croft, I was like, oh, I want to get fit like Lara Croft. And so a lot of women really do have that similar mindset, but we just see so much of the complainers and the oh, I need to be represented more. Like, this is too unrealistic standard for me. Like, I don't think that those type of women are the majority.
Simone, did you ever see any super hot, attractive lady and feel less about yourself because of that?
It was more anime. Anime has very unrealistic body standards. You know what? That's tough for men and women. That's a deal breaker. I just think it's so rich, though, that, I mean, the Haze movement, Healthy at Any Size, was really started by guys who liked that body type. So to act as though this is even women arguing that, you know, more people need to like my body type, more people need to find me beautiful as I am. That movement wasn't even started by those women, which is really wild. So all of this is completely messed up. Everyone objectifies everyone else. Everyone judges everyone else. Everyone holds themselves to unrealistic standards as long as they are, you know, really trying in life. And you can't change that. You can't legislate that away. Just like you can't, you know, really change the fact that people like to grief each other in games, because you know what, that's fun. I mean, if I were running GTA and people were giving me like trouble about that, complaining about it, saying this is hurting people, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, we'll just assign, you know, we'll make it part of the game. We'll reward it because that's how you should be playing. If you're not griefing, you're not doing it right. So we need to lean into our human nature, not lean out.
You know, it's really funny. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, because you were showing some examples here, and it made me think of the point that I was talking about earlier of them in trying to desexualize women, making them look underage. If you look at the old She-Ra character versus the new She-Ra character, I think that's a perfect example of this.
Oh, look into who designed it.
No way that the old character could be mistaken for a prepubescent individual, while the new one absolutely looks that way, and yet is even more sexualized in the show. Like, she is actively hooking up with other like genuinely pretty intense makeup sessions.
Wow.
But she looks like a kid.
She does.
Wow. Like, yeah, that's crazy. And honestly, like, upsetting.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, geez, that's just. Listen. We live in Clown World right now.
Clown World.
Yeah, we do.
Which means it's time for everybody's new favorite segment that we love here on the channel. Blabs, are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so sounds good. Where's our intro? Where is it? Where's the intro, Blabs? We got to organize this better. Where?
Clown. Clown.
It was literally right there, Craig.
Sorry, I missed it. All right, now let's listen. We've been talking about Clown World all day, but let's go even deeper with actually IRL stuff outside of the video game world. Blabs, I'm going to let you lead this one.
All right, so the first one in Clown World is non-binary person, 33, in Canada, wants taxpayers to fund $70,000 surgery to give them a vagina and...
What?
You get both.
Yeah, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Optionality is great. I mean, we should all, you know, this is what really having it all means.
So are they going to remove the balls and put it there? Like,
where does it go?
No, so the way they do it is I read the article. They take extra skin. If you're actually interested in the question, because usually they would use the skin to make the
wrist.
But in this case, they're using skin from like the buttocks to make it.
I thought they use inner thigh, which is great because girls always want the thigh gap. They finally get the thigh gap. And something else.
Yeah, they get the thigh gap and a dick.
I know. Again, having it all. I'm like, this is great. You know what? Let's dream big. We need more people dreaming big.
I can only say, like, imagine you're like an OG trans person, you know, like Buck Angel, like just fighting for rights. And now you see your entire movement taken over, or at least the most visible people, where, like, for this person, I don't know. This is obviously a fetish. Like, that's not a gender identity. Both was never a both. Even people born intersex and almost never historically identified as both as their gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's my thoughts on this. If this person wants to have both, then what they should do as well is only have and get one breast added, and so it's just you have one on one side, and then you have a regular man peck on the other side. To where it's super uncomfortable. Right.
No, I identify as the whatever gender that girl from Total Recall was with the 3 boobs. I'm going to the government to do that for me. I need 3.
Wow.
Malcolm, don't make me meme that.
Hey, best of luck to that, and best of luck to you in Canada. You guys are
Yeah.
All right,
He
let's.
wants taxpayers to fund him, not even like himself. It's amazing.
I mean, sweet Jesus. All right, go ahead, Blabs. What's the next?
All right, the next one on the list, Adidas or Adidas, depending where you're from, bans number 44 on German soccer jerseys over concerns it resembles the Nazi symbol.
What?
The number 44, guys, is a Nazi.
Oh. Oh dear.
Obviously, because obviously.
Well, I mean, it's
It's pretty.
the two lightning bolts.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem: is the group that shall not be named had some great designers, and it's just not fair. They ruined it. They ruined so many great uniforms and styles and logos, and there you go. I mean, this is why we can't have nice things.
That's the thing that's been banned. That.
Wow.
That's
fine.
There might be some fringe group that's actually doing this. This reminds me of like when 4chan accidentally made the OK sign.
Yes.
Like, how did that even happen? I don't know if you guys know the
Yeah.
full story behind that. Like, it started as a troll, and then like both the left took it so seriously, like journalists did, that then actual Nazis began to take it seriously.
Wow. Okay. And I feel like Germany, I don't know many Germans, right? But at the same time, like, are they, that was a really fucked up thing that happened, right? I think we can all agree that's a pretty fucked up thing that happened, right? But are they like to the point to where they, like, you can't even talk about it? That's how things get repeated. And it's so bizarre, bizarre to me. People were, by the way, I know our show is called Side Scrollers, right? And we had this logo here in the upper corner of your screen I just added. Do you know how many times people like, you really need to avoid SS?
Oh no. Oh no.
Stupid. And it's like like a ship or like a spaceship or something.
Or any other podcast that starts with two letters that start with, two S's. Like, are you kidding me? Like, these people are insane.
Here's what I love about this is like they think that we're gonna like accidentally become Nazis. Like we're gonna like accidentally build a world that has an ethnic hierarchy and an approved ideology, and then silence everyone who goes against that ideology. I mean, there is a group that's doing that right now.
Yep.
They're not us.
Yep.
No, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. You see the way that our racial hierarchy works, we only target the groups on the top. And I was like, why do you think the Nazis targeted the Jews? It was because they were more economically successful than the other groups. You just accidentally reinvented Nazism.
Sweet Jesus.
Oops. All right. Well, and then the next one we have is Seattle closes gifted and talented schools because they had too many white and Asian students with consultant branding Black parents who complained about move tokenized.
Wow.
Talk about racism.
But this is what we were talking about earlier. When Black individuals do not fall into their ideology, they remove their ethnic identity from them. They say, you cannot be Black and disagree with us on these subjects. And they do this with sexual minorities as well, right? Like I cannot imagine how it would feel, for example, when I mentioned that 45% of gay men now support Trump, to be one of these men early in the movement who put your life on the line to defend this movement, and now seeing everything, or a young Black man, and now seeing everything that you spent your life fighting stolen and worn as a defense by a group that does not care about your best interest.
What makes this extra sad is that a lot of research has found that students that typically fall into gifted and talented programs, students who are really gifted, are essentially different segment of special needs kids. So when they aren't given programs that accommodate them, they drop out of schools at higher rates. They have behavioral problems at higher rates. So this isn't just about like, oh, like they're not getting the booster that they maybe could have gotten, they're not getting their special treat. No. They are now going to have severely worse outcomes. How many amazing geniuses of our time are we going to lose now because they're washing out and getting overlooked? It's really sad.
I don't think we needed the white and Asian geniuses, Simone.
Let them go. Yeah, there are too many.
You would
Too many.
express concern for them sounds a little racist.
Well, yeah, I'm doomed anyway. It's fine.
I think they're going to be working at Burger King for $20 an hour in California now.
And the very last one I'm going to show is actually from Libs of TikTok on Twitter.
Oh,
And
great.
This is from California. The men's bathroom now has a nicer tampons dispenser than women's bathroom. So this is the men's bathroom. And this is
my.
Well,
but men do deserve nicer things.
What a time to be alive. So yes, everyone, men have better tampon dispensers than women who actually need them. You get the counter. Yeah.
At
These
least
are
men
the
will learn
people-
about tampons now.
Yeah. These are the people
Education.
saying fight the patriarchy.
But I actually can see how this ended up happening. So they probably had the one tampon machine because like a sane person was like, we only need one for each pair of bathrooms. Then they tried just setting out because it looks really sad, like the small pile of tampon. Right.
Yeah.
And they did that in the men's bathroom. They were like, oh no, this looks like we're insulting the trans men. So they're like, well, better safe than sorry. Let's put it in the women's restroom. But now I know exactly what's going to happen. The trans women are going to say, because if you notice they were free in the women's bathroom, they're going to say they're charging trans people for tampons, but not charging cisgendered women. This is bigotry.
Oh gosh.
I can't think of anything that's extreme bigotry in my mind and not very accepting at all. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. Well, that's Clown World. Anything else, Blabs? Is that it for
No,
Clown World?
that was it. That's the best ones, I think.
Sweet Lord. All right. Holy moly. We have a lot of support to get to today, guys. Thank you very much. I would like to remind everybody that if you have enjoyed the ranting and raving of Simone and Malcolm, you can find them over on their channel. You can find them over at Based Camp with Simone and Malcolm right there. Make sure you guys go subscribe to them, and I'm sure they'll be coming back again very, very soon. With that said, we have a lot of support, and I want to start reading off some of the support. Blabs, actually, I'm going to allow you to do that. But we need to get an emote that is of a potty because I'm drinking way too much water throughout.
I thought you were going to say Jake face because I put in my book a Jake face emote.
No, I need to get a toilet emote. Because
I will get you one in just a second, Craig.
Thanks, actually, really appreciate that.
It's great having a meme around here.
We start reading these off real quick.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
So Clemson, who became a member for 9 months, says, I vote for Mazza as the third host of Side Scrollers. That said, Extrazero greater than Mazza. This is true. Where does he pull these things up? Because that's not even on the right order for me. Anyway, okay, Craig. I'll just leave that one up for a second. As on locals, Bilksinner3124 sent a $5 tip saying, I'm a little behind on the stream, but on the topic of defining woke, it can be pretty easy to define. If the application of the ethics and processes of Marxism to all intersectionality defines identities, thus every relationship is defined in the terms of oppressor and oppressed. Wokeness has not other dynamic. Thank you for that. And then there was a $2 tip that I got from Just Jake, so I got that one okay. We're set. All right. Bizarre Star says, don't worry, everybody. This isn't a Poochie ending for Mel. She's not going because the planet needs her.
I understood that reference.
Is that like an ET thing?
No, it's from The Simpsons.
Oh, I don't watch
Oh, okay. I haven't seen a lot. I watched like one episode. I wasn't allowed though.
Yeah. Worthy One says, hey Mel, did you hear about the Godzilla Power Rangers crossover comic?
Is there a new one? Because haven't they done that before?
Maybe it's an old one.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I gotta blow myself up. Blubs the Terror Turd for $5. Hey, F-Slur lady, where was your dad 9 months before Very Dark was born? I think he has some explaining to do. I like pickles and violence and tentacles. Yay! Said the right words today. Johnny, Melonie, show us your butter dish. Jay did.
I don't have one. I need to get one apparently.
You don't have a butter dish?
No, I just.
I'm gonna go grab my butter
package.
dish.
All right, there we go.
I'm not gonna lie, Melanie.
I guess I need to get one.
All right, well, whatever. I'm judging you now. Kratos, Craig is a baguette for never seen Lord of the Rings. I concur. F slurs in the chat from Mel. Mm-hmm. I like how Extrazero leaves and his dog starts barking at him.
Yeah.
Sun Wuku. Hey, Craig, do you think you'll watch the Hobbit trilogy after you're done enjoying the Lord of the Rings? The answer is no. He won't be able to. Not allowed.
Thanks for answering for me. Appreciate that.
I'm not gonna let you watch those. Anyway, Lagnad, happy first contact day. Live long and prosper. Thanks, man. All right. Craig has no idea what that means. What are you doing? It's this.
You're doing it wrong.
Is that right? Did I do it right?
You went like
It's like Pac-Man. Wacka 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 wacka. Anyway.
now I'm confused.
One time at band camp, Craig's not going to like the Lord of the Rings. Oh gosh. Anyway. Sony says, Extrazero, how dare you assume the gender of my square block in Tetris? One does not simply watch side scrolls without memes. It's true. Does Extrazero have his butter dish now?
I do.
See?
Look,
Melonie doesn't have one.
And you can measure your butter. It's got little notches on it.
Okay, I see.
But you mentioned that earlier, Extrazero, and but on the butter wrapper, there are notches that allow you to measure your butter.
Yeah, but then you run the risk of getting wax paper mixed into your butter. Do you really want that?
Wait, is this real?
No, really though, you guys are all amateurs. You should be doing this by grams. So I'm sorry that you're wrong. Still get a butter dish.
I do it by flavor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more the merrier. Just throw in the stick though. Then you don't have to measure at all. You're fine.
I mean, sometimes I do. Like when I sous vide my potatoes, I just throw in 2 sticks of butter.
It's good. Works.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kyle says, no Diddy is the new ho, no ho, mo. Not Renfist the lovable Diddy Kong.
Say no Diddy. Say no Diddy when you say
no Diddy.
Thanks, Kyle.
Lance, wait, does Craig not know who Sean Bean is? Craig, have you at least seen GoldenEye? Haven't you? No, he's only seen the James Bond Daniel Craig movies because his last name is Craig, and that's it.
I know who this guy is. I know who that guy is.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
He dies like all the time. Yo, fuck that bitch. If Melonie Mac is a dish, can I be your cheese? Cody says, Lord of the Rings fan who never read Similarian? 2 times, a shame. I said that wrong too. Similarian? Hi, dog.
I can never pronounce that.
Yeah. Similarian.
Has anyone here actually read that one?
No.
I haven't.
No.
We're sad. We're delinquents, all of us.
Yeah.
Commander Kronk, OG-G1 here. Hope you can get ScrewAttack back just to release the back catalog of videos. But whatever happens, thank you for all you do, Craig and Co. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. I'll be talking about it here in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Here on this channel.
Lover of Green for 5. Have you heard of Danny O'Dyer? No clip. He creates high-quality documentaries on video games. I would love to see him on the pod someday.
Yeah, Danny's a great dude. I've known Danny for a long time. He does really great work. I would love to have him on for sure. I don't think he's probably going to come on, but I would love to have him on.
Terse Chaos. Have Mel eaten deep fried butter from a fair?
I have not, but that does sound incredible.
Tomac for 20. Wasn't the first female video game Marmaduke? You know, Dig Dug's wife?
I assumed it was Mrs. Pac-Man was the first major female video game character.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that Marmaduke was Dig Dug's wife's name.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Noodles! Those fight night games are super fun. Yeah.
Round 3.
The Lord Sephiroth. Always like to see Melanie's defending the game.
You just said Sephiroth Sephiroth.
I got it. The Lord Sephiroth.
What is that?
Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, I've never played Final Fantasy.
Don't you ever.
You can't even do that. Listen,
Hold on.
I feel like Craig right now.
I actually earlier we were talking about the Vulcan thing, and it got me thinking about the so in the Mirror universe when the Vulcans first, because I'm thinking about the first Live Long and Prosper thing, and Jeffrey Cochran shoots the Vulcan and then takes his ship. That's the one we always play whenever we're doing that. But it got me thinking about the Mirror universe in Star Trek, and that everyone in it dresses sexy. And it got me thinking about this combination of sexiness must mean evil that you get within these ultra leftist circles that I had forgotten goes as far back as the early Mirror universe in Star Trek.
Oh.
You know, I wish I could tell you I understood a word of what you just said.
Oh, no.
You want to be on a Mirror universe ship. Those women, they dress nice.
Thank you, Lord Sephiroth. Appreciate that.
Nissan says, do not let Nintendo's kitty art style fool you. They would harvest and sell your firstborn's organs and sell them on the black market if they could get away with it. Modern day Yakuza.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Nissan.
That went dark. You are going about Star Trek to like killing organs and stuff. Maniac Mutilator sent. I don't know if there's supposed to be a sticker or a dot. I'm not sure, but thank you for the 5.
Just some support.
Yeah. Sunny says, I play games for the melatonin release. Watching those trophy achievements pop is just so satisfying. I recently played Metal Gear 1 and 2 MSX games. Recently, old school gaming at its finest. Yeah, I like the achievements.
Thanks.
I
Sonny.
really like the sound the Xbox makes when you get an achievement.
Yeah.
It was like, anyway, it's fine.
You know, they make those same cells in Amazon factories now to try to motivate people to do media.
No way.
Yeah. My favorite recent Amazon factory thing is they had a sign that you needed to click that was take 30 minutes to think about something you're appreciative, or no, to imagine something you're appreciative of in life that you have to do in between factory tasks.
That is cool.
Wow.
They can't go to bathrooms, but you know, you get the achievement sounds.
Yeah.
Mute stream, eat your cereals with milk, folks. Okay.
Thanks, Mute Stream. Appreciate that.
Crazy, one of our favorite mods. Happy Friday, guys. Let's go. Yes, thanks, Crazy.
Glad you can't say that. We like all of our mods equally, except Extrazero.
Yeah, right.
Why can't I say one of our favorites? I like her. She's one of my favorites. How about that?
Crazy T's great people.
She's awesome.
Douglas says, I say this a lot, but here's a fact the leftists don't know. It was the Democrats who created the KKK. It stayed in the history books.
Here's another fact leftists don't know. Until Obama was elected by 538 polling by Nate Silver, which is a mainstream poller, more white Democrats said they wouldn't vote for a black president than white Republicans until Obama was elected.
Wow.
Wow.
The Polydan for $10, dude. That John guy was infuriating. The fact that he said he didn't like the Last of Us 2 because of a trans character was such a straw man. There was so much wrong with the game. The trans kid was not one.
Even Endymion said Lev was the character that he liked the best.
Kongzilla, I'll miss your twice weekly appearance on Side Scrollers, Mel, but I'm enjoying the quarter cast shows. And the live Go Boom show will be epic. Exciting times. Happy Friday, y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
You'll be back.
Yep, I'll be back.
Dutchie for 5 says, I'm not a furry, but Judy Hopps from Zootopia's fine as fuck. So I slightly understand furries. No, you leave Judy alone.
Hey, let's just be real about this. There are several characters that have
Marianne from Robin Hood, the fox.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lola Bunny.
dude.
Yeah.
I think Godzilla's hot, so I get it.
All right. People are like, Nala, Marianne, Melanie, Godzilla.
Valid.
Anakin's burnt wiener. Melanie, how did you celebrate Transgender Day?
Oh, I'm afraid I didn't.
Monster.
They're asking how you celebrated Easter, by the way.
I did celebrate Easter with family. Watched my brother play some folklore on PS3. It was really fun.
Did you hide ovum in the yard as a traditional transgender appreciation celebration? Ovum, eggs. They're
Oh!
I was like, yeah, that's what I did.
Ovum. It's okay. Never mind. I was watching the Transgender Day celebration at the White House, and I was like, "Well, I'm glad they've already brought in furries with their Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit costumes."
Oh my god! All right, Mo Lester says, "Oh damn it, I said that out loud." Mo Lester it was more of a E-Bombs world, man. Myself, I hope I said that right. Thanks, Mo. Nissan says, talk about game preservation. An Italian plumber might appear and brick your kneecaps, then disappear into a green pipe.
That's right.
Peach Tea, hail! I don't often catch you guys live. I just want to tell Blabs, thank you for wrecking that guy during the RE5 debate. That was awesome. At your service.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate you. Thanks for catching us when you can.
Overlord says, I want Stellar Blade. Spy Stellar Blade, everyone. Only if you have a PS5, though. BS Warren, I don't buy it. More griefers and more modders means more players buying shark cards, microtransactions, so they can afford better weapons.
You know, that's the other side of this, is that with the GTA stuff, that they could potentially just be saying that to cover their base, cover their asses, cover their bases, you know, and then, but it's one of those, like, we have the rules, but are they enforced? You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Aaron says, finally, I can steal cars in a safe environment.
Finally, Aaron.
Nissan says Rock reports to police policies for the UK and soon for US hate speech laws. People get arrested. It's no joke. Antipathy. I can't say that word.
Antipathy.
Yeah, that one. GTA Online died because of hackers and lack of support. Do we really still have high expectations for the industry, let alone our Rocksteady?
Rockstar.
Yeah, Star. I was going to say Rocksteady. No one's going to answer that? Okay.
No.
I mean, I just love that I now see GTA as like this environment where people are getting constant affirmation. I mean, I think you can make a great skit about that, where just everyone is super, super polite and super PC while people are all out murdering, breaking the law.
Madame, may I have the pleasure of stealing your car?
Years ago, Mega 64 did a Duke Nukem like before like woke was even in the lexicon. They did Doug Hugg'em, which was like a PC version, and they got John St. John for the sketch.
Yeah.
This reminds me of, because I think LA and SF are already like that. You know, you mug one of these celebrities and they're like, well, you needed it more than I did. I appreciate you helping redistribute my assets.
Seth Rogen, I found a cool knife that a criminal left in my car one time. You know, sometimes you get a little treat. He literally said that. He said sometimes you get a nice little treat after getting robbed.
Yeah, right. Neon says AAA is committing Sudoku. The worthy one. Hearing this makes me even more terrified for GTA 6. I won't be getting it, I know that. Aiden Perez, great news, no work tomorrow. Tonight, I'll be watching the Rangers against their hated rival, Astros. Boo! Tomorrow, me and my brother are going downtown to attend the Dallas Stars watch party. Go Rangers, go Stars. Well, have a great weekend off. Retro says, I think I speak for everyone when I say when you replace escapism with realism, it's no longer fantasy. Need I say more? Correct.
Thanks, Retro Meister.
Vic Gamer. Check this out. Something like this is how they may be enforcing the new guidelines. I can't link it, but it's called Talks Mod. Courtesy of Endymion last video.
Yeah.
And I want to point out here that wokeism doesn't always make games worse. For example, consider Baldur's Gate 3, where they accidentally made every one of the characters the horniest motherfucker I have ever seen. I have never felt so sexually harassed in a game. Every single interaction with a companion was like, hey, you want to get down now? I mean, I know you've turned me down a couple times. I know you're hooking up with them, but like maybe...
Crit Nature says you have to be really psychotic to play GTA Online on public servers now anyway. Besides the fact that you can customize servers, invite band players yourself, so absolutely no need for that.
Thanks, Crit.
Yeah.
Retro Meister comes back and says, question for the panel. Is Gamergate a social engineering project to intentionally divide the sexes to be filled with hate, bigotry, and ignorance? FYI, you can't spell ignorance without IGN in it. Oh, wow.
I just think it sells.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, not sells literally to the public. What I mean is it's an internally consistent mimetic set, which once it infects one organization, begins to infect the organizations that are affiliated with it and makes it so that when people go against it, they can lose their jobs. And for a lot of these people, it's not worth challenging if they have some dissent in their heads because, you know, this is their livelihood and it could be hard for them to get another job afterwards. So it's a very sophisticated, sort of organically evolved set of mimetic traits that just work together very well. I equate it with sort of like a transmissible form of cancer.
Okay.
Wokeism is a transmissible form of cancer.
Yeah, like canine venereal disease.
Yeah.
You're sick,
Benoit.
you freaks.
Benoit says, I absolutely love Paul Veron's work. Starship Troopers, RoboCop, but he's an idiot. Thank you.
Well, I think we keep seeing these leftists try to make things to attack rightist perspectives, but they make them so good, they come off as pure rightist works, like the Barbie movie. One of the things I can never get over in the Barbie movie is the only place the patriarchy existed in the Barbie movie was in a high school library. They could have made it anywhere. They could have made it a public library. He finds all those books in a high school library. A rightist trying to make a movie about leftist brainwashing couldn't have made a more poignant point.
The funny thing about the Barbie movie is that the award show itself, it ended with Ken. Like Ken was the star of the movie. The whole Like, it's amazing. At the award show, it wasn't Barbie singing, it was Ken singing.
Well, it invented MGTOW. I love that, like, MGTOWers are literally demonetized on YouTube, yet that was the whole point towards Men in the Marie movie. Anyway.
All right. Rod says, about making ugly women, for what I have an understanding, is to make the trans not left out on women only. For that reason, most women on games have to look so androgynous.
Yeah.
So we all gotta look ugly for like the 0.0001%. Andrew, can't wait for the Gorlock mode and stuff.
Oh God.
Bobs, what did you say about testicles yesterday? Nothing, not a thing.
Oh, I clipped that.
You know, something we haven't touched on in this episode, but I do highlight it with all of these ugly characters, is the aggressive banning of mods that are trying to fix this stuff that keep coming out now. Like, that we're not even allowed to play games in the ways that we want to play them on our own terms.
Seriously.
It's a snake eating its own tail, because, you know, games like Elder Scrolls, games like Doom. I mean, look at Doom it came out in 93. It's still supported today, and primarily due to the mods. And then there's commercial games like oh shoot, I forget the one that Mark the Cyborg put on my radar. It started with an S, but they run in GZ Doom, and people are making full-fledged new games out of essentially modding Doom. I mean, it's unfortunate to see, and I think that by restricting mods, you're also creating this environment which people, aspiring game designers, can't start making their own portfolio and getting experience, and it's bad all around.
I'll say this, Malcolm, you came, you said that's something we haven't touched on right after Blabs was talking about testicles. And
I was really confused there. I was like,
well, I mean, I've been meaning to touch on more testicles during this show.
That's a pretty standard topic usually, is testicles at some point, for sure.
I just think of like Peter Griffin going testicles, and that is all.
or our friend over here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Anthony. I was like, all right, Anthony says, I'm going to buy the game to send a message that studios need to make games without all the BS. Plus booba. All the boobs. Uriah of the House Right. Hey, Craig, what's Matthew Perry's favorite band? Drowning Pool.
Oh, that's dark.
Earlier comment about making games without the BS. I mean, I want to really highlight for the audience, every single time there's been an attempt to boycott a game recently, you know, you had the Harry Potter game, you have this game. What was the other game that recently they tried to boycott that did really well? But it's,
they got pissy with that one too.
It's led to an explosion in sales for that game. There is literally no better marketing strategy for a game right now than to try to get a cancellation campaign against it, which I think to me shows that they have completely lost at this point. And every game tied to Sweet Baby since it's been known has bombed.
Yep.
Like, they have lost the consumer. It is over there. That battle sailed.
Well, I do want to put an asterisk on that, because it's certain ones. There is the too big to fail stuff like Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2, and I think that's what they're banking on with GTA 6. If they are involved, they want to have those few wins to highlight, and they can have dozens upon dozens of losses, but they will still always go back to God of War and Spider-Man. Those
but we didn't know about them back then. If I had known that they were affiliated with something like that, I wouldn't have gotten those games. And I think going forwards, that's what we're going to see. It's easy not to buy a AAA game these days because they're not very good anymore.
Yeah, they're not. And they're so expensive.
It's too many options. Way too many options, you know?
You can have fun with Helldivers and pay half the price. Why not pick that one? Melee K of Melee Games says they poison a fruit and a side effect is Psygonomy. What is that?
Physiognomy.
Jesus Christ, guys! What am I, doctor? Declines. Our art certainly gets ugly too. It really makes you think.
Truth.
Thanks, Kay.
Music and fiction. To Malcolm's point, the old enemy of gamers was Jack Thompson and Tipper Gore, the religious right. The new enemies of gamers is the Puritan left. Salty Source Rex says, wait, the woke and trans supporting weirdos are worried about men beating women? Have they seen dudes pretend to be women doing that in sports?
Yes!
I need to highlight a study when they were talking about poisoning food, because it is worth noting here, which is, I don't know if your audience is familiar with the endocrine disruptor study, the TIDE study, that looked at first trimester mothers who were pregnant with male fetuses. And after the fetuses were born, they had smaller anogenital distance if the mothers were exposed to a high level of endocrine disruptors. meaning they weren't fully gender differentiated. And recently they did a follow-up study where they displayed more female-like than male-like play behavior. So when people talk about Gen Alpha men behaving differently than men of previous generations, they literally are biologically more feminized.
Wow.
Damn.
Not
Wow.
even with the facts today. It's ridiculous.
Sorry, I got to highlight conspiracy theories that have data backing them, because conspiracy theories batting 9 out of 10 these days.
I would just like to point out that when we get pulled off YouTube, you can find us over at Locals at sideshow.locals.com, as well as Rumble, which is great.
Rolando says that Shira looked like Ben 10 in a dress. Andrew, now I understand why the left don't want 2 + 2 = 4. It's because they're friggin' Nazis. Correct.
Thanks, Andrew.
That was crazy that they actually did that. Like, remember I talk about like they can't let things alone? They actually made a big thing over 2 + 2 not equaling 4.
Tony says, if I was ever in special forces, Black Ops, or Navy SEALs, there wouldn't ever be a government, as they'd be scared shitless to attempt woke agendas. Yeah.
I don't know if you can use the term black op anymore. That might be offensive.
That's right.
Oh.
Incredibly insensitive.
Just ops. Thunder Turtle, Malcolm is elite level super smart.
Yeah.
Dr. Kiladin, wait, this isn't the combat branch of the National Socialist Party's parliamentary Sturstaffel organization. Can you guys change the logo? It's a bit misleading.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yes. Anytime you put 2 S's together, it's very, very hard to understand the difference between it. It's crazy.
Kid Gimmick, if women were self-deleting because unobtainable physical traits, then why do drag queens idolize and mimic female divas?
I gotta mention here that, like, genuinely, a channel like yours has to worry about accidentally having an S next to an S, and yet there are college campus protests that are like from the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea. Yeah.
Literally talking about erasing the Jews from Israel. Like, it is wild how far they can go, and the littlest thing you do and you can get removed from it.
Peach T says, Dear Malcolm, as a black woman who has had her black card pulled a long time ago, you are hereby invited to the barbecue. My brother.
Hey, listen, there ain't nothing better than going to a black family's barbecue. I know from experience. It's spectacular.
Super says, I originally wanted my brand to be just Satan-Sin. Sounds edgy 15 years ago, but added super to avoid the SS on my logo too.
You got punked.
Grusium says, remember when Extra Credits claimed that playing World War II games made you a WW2 bad person? Call of Duty is the best radicalization tool.
So that whole Extra Credit thing, I used to love Extra Credits, and I was so sad when they were like, oh, you actually mean the things that you're saying. Did you guys remember this Extra Credit drama?
So
no, but I remember Call of Duty having like freaking who is it, Snoop Dogg in it in like World War II, but now he's back and it's like 2024.
Was it
like,
Battlefield 1 that had the multi-ethnic Germans?
What? Oh yeah, they have that now. It's like
yeah.
Okay.
So Extra Credits actually, I know the guys who started that show, and back in the day of ScrewAttack, we featured them several times. It was a pretty smart show for a good while, and I don't think it still exists. Does it still exist? I don't know. I guess maybe it does, but Daniel and I were pretty good buddies, and spent a lot of time with them. But yeah, there are some pretty wild takes there, man. Pretty wild takes.
Yeah.
All right. Goosium says, that was what we just got. Thank you, Goosium. Initial C. Many have tried reading, none have finished. Ra says, how long before you expect Lara Croft to become Lara Croft?
Larry Croft.
Larry.
Hey, Melonie.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Crispy.
Well, I mean, it'd be pretty transphobic not to make her that.
Crispy, I'll do evil things from Mirror Universe, Kira Neris. All right. Copper has become a YouTube member. Shout out, Copper. Thank you very much. Music and the fiction. Extrazero equals Mirror Universe Seth MacFarlane.
I mean, I'm a more based Seth MacFarlane, if we want to put it that way.
You got the goatee.
Yeah, but can you sing like Sinatra, bro? I'm just saying.
I can do a pretty good Cleveland voice, even though that's Mike Henry.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Pally Dan says Mel Godzilla X Power Rangers 2 came out this week.
Oh, cool.
There's a new comic.
I'm just thinking with that mirror universe comment that I genuinely think when progressives hear that like my wife and I have a traditional relationship, they imagine her like a female crew member in the mirror universe, and they think that that's like her life.
TS Chaos says, "Will Blabs ever get a temporary tattoo for money?" It depends on what it is. I guess it's temporary, so it's fine.
What if we got you a bullseye right on the small of your back?
Definitely not showing my back on the internet. Be meme to hell and back. Get it? Anyway, Dark8182 says the real question is: has Lord of the Rings fans checked out the masterpiece that is free and Beyond the Journey's End and Dupree was still my best laugh of the week?
It's a great anime, but
I'm currently watching it. No spoilers. I'm on episode 5.
Okay.
Shut down, Malcolm.
Yeah, sit down, Malcolm. Wolf Colt gifted 1 Side Scrollers membership. Thank you
Let's
very
go.
much.
Thanks so much.
The worthy one, Team Yeet or Team No Yeet, Craig?
That's a WrestleMania reference. You know, it's funny. I would love to watch WrestleMania this week. I don't think I'm gonna have time. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how some of those stories end. I'd say probably Team Yeet.
Okay. Tony says, note to conservatives, you have to stop falling for the liberal psychological trap. Seriously, they feed off your outrage. Just don't. I agree. And Strange Axel. Stella is probably the first demo I've played for more times through before release ever. I wouldn't call it Souls-like, but if people are labeling it as such, it'll be the one I actually like. Cheers! Vote for Blabs. Thanks, man.
Well, I'm actually going to push back on the last comment a bit. I think in entertainment media, the far wokey stuff can be entertaining to chat about, but it does become a serious issue when they begin involving this in stuff like air traffic control, where families can end up dying.
It seems
Not to bring down the mood.
No. Like, that seems like such a basic statement. You know, when people's lives are at stake and people could potentially die from your idea, it's probably not a great idea. Just gonna throw it out there, you know.
And Mercenary says, I don't have a PlayStation 5, but I'm still buying Stellar Blade.
Wow.
Oh.
All right.
So you're gonna buy the game just for the game and not be able to play it? You do you, boo.
Let's go. Hey, over on the direct donation side of things, you guys have been outstanding, but I do want to point out that Kratos El Gratos Melonie came in with a $100 direct donation. Says, FYI, my YouTube username is finally back to normal. I guess I'll be the one to send Melonie off in style. I'd like her to sing "Bye Bye Bye" in her favorite German accent. Be careful.
All
Be
right.
careful not to blow out your microphone. So you probably want to step back a little bit.
I'll try. Okay, we'll move the mic back.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Craig, this is the NSYNC song, Bye Bye Bye, I would imagine, which is great. Thank you, great Kratos. We'll get to that in just a minute. Toast Malo says, woke is a parasite that infects well-known, well-loved IPs and companies. They force out the original host with the ideology and wear the brand's skin to sell you propaganda under something you love. This is why the curator page was so deadly to them.
Yeah, and I want to highlight in response to this comment where sometimes progressives don't understand why people get so angry about woke stuff. Like, imagine if somebody bought your childhood home and then they just filled it with stuff about how much they hate you. Like, would that not hurt you emotionally? That's the way properties like Star Wars are for some people. It's like somebody bought something that was deeply important to their identity growing up and then just hung a bunch of "we hate you" signs and like the signs like mocking you for having like small genitalia or something all over it. Like, yeah, that genuinely, people have a right to be upset about that.
That's such an amazing analogy. Such a wonderful metaphor. Like, wow.
I like Malcolm and Simone. You guys are great. I gotta say it.
St. Hugo says, but if a woodchuck could chuck and would chuck some amount of wood, what amount of a wood would a woodchuck chuck? St. Hugo, you can't. Listen, I'm a professional here. Okay, come on now. Mercenary came in and says, Spore was by Will Wright, SimCity creator. These guys getting angry over Eve and Stellar Blade reminds me too much of the puritanical people in the 90s. This is a religion to them. We are heretics, and we need to be burned at the stake. That's how it's seen. And the
Well,
mercenary.
it's worse than the traditional religious systems because they don't have kids, so they can only replicate by taking kids from nearby cultural
Yep.
groups, which is the core part of the conflict that our society is dealing right now. Is the iterations of wokeism that are better at converting kids end up being represented in the mainstream population at higher rates because that is the main conversion strategy for them. And as for why kids, most people deconvert from their birth culture between the ages of 15 to 21. So naturally, the iterations of wokeism that targeted that age range outperform the ones that were targeting different age ranges.
Mercenary also came in, letting Melonie know he's trying to get you a picture of Jesus. Thank you, Mercenary. And Kratos came in with that big old
Robot Craig.
It's Robot Craig,
big
Mr.
old
Roboto.
bomb and shining. Sorry. Am I still there? Am I good?
You're back.
Am I
Craig,
back?
welcome to 24.
All right, cool. Weird. Sorry about that, guys. Tasmala says, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Their Oz is exposed and dying. Keep shining a lot on their corruption while we starve them by closing wallets. Malcolm, you're the GOAT. Glad to be introduced to your content. Stay base, side scrollers. It's good stuff, man. Malcolm, they love you, buddy. They love you, which is great.
That's thoughtful.
That's wonderful.
I like when people don't tell me to kill myself.
Oh, nice, isn't it?
We get that a lot on some platforms.
Oh.
That's good. Well, you're safe here, buddy. You're safe here. Good. Hey, I do want to point. Let's see if I can pull this over here real fast. Oh shoot! Because Shaker came in. Yeah, here it is, right here. He says that dog tag I made of the side scrollers logo instantly attracted the haters on Twitter.
Oh,
and
no.
you guessed it, they joked about the SS. We'll be awaiting your return, Mel. Check out this dog tag that Shaker made. It's awesome. That's
Oh,
great.
that is so
Cool.
rad.
Yeah, that is
Nice.
spectacular. Very, very cool. Great stuff. And over on Rumble, good lordy, you guys have been awesome. Says, Blake says, we need our own consulting firms. I suggest Mac Girl Gamers and Sweet Blabby Inc.
I like that.
I actually thought about this as a business opportunity, and I would genuinely consider that. Like, I was like, I have too much on my plate right now, but it's something that I might set up to help studios that have gotten hit by controversies like this. Somebody who has like an MBA or something like that should seriously consider it.
I've talked about this many times. I actually think there's a way to to provide a parallel economy to what Sweet Baby is doing, and be like, and really the answer is you go in after them and just say, yeah, scrap all that shit and go back to doing what you're doing before. That's really it. Or give her more boobs, give that guy more biceps, and then you're good. It's a pretty similar, it's pretty easy situation. Your friendly neighborhood Fed says, happy trails, Melonie Mac, my favorite gamer word lady. What is your favorite level and weapon in Perfect Dark?
Oh goodness, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. Like, I'm not as much of a Perfect Dark stan as I am a Tomb Raider stan. So like, I've beaten it a couple times, loved the game, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I always liked the poison darts because you could grief people when they died.
Oh,
Or the poison knives.
I do see that one level where it's pretty early on where there's a helicopter out the window and you have to get the rocket launcher to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle, so I always miss, but that's fun.
Jared came in and says, just like Craig never seen Lord of the Rings, I'm going to come forward and say that I've never seen Harry Potter or Batman from 1989. Jared, way to be brave, buddy. Way to be brave. Don't let them shame you. Don't let them shame you.
Watch the second Batman by Tim Burton. It is a masterpiece.
It's Batman 2.
Catwoman is an
Returns.
actual Catwoman in it.
Yeah,
Batman
as she
Returns
should
is
be.
incredible.
Yeah.
John says, real women want Gimli to treat them to a salted pork and mining date. Jared wants to know what you don't like about Stella Blade, Extrazero.
So I just felt that the combat, like Eve is supposed to be this nimble, agile character. And, in fairness, people are like, well, there's a skill tree in the game. I just didn't like that off the bat. It felt like you were very sluggish and like blocking, for instance, they want you to do a lot of parrying. And there's a noticeable delay when you hit the block button to when Eve actually takes her sword and blocks. So I do understand that there's timing involved. You have to get acclimated to the timing, but none of it felt good to me. And that's just a personal personal thing. Like, to me, the game felt a lot like the Jedi Fallen Order game, and I did like the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor games. I know that's it's a lot of people that don't, and that's fine. But like Cal Kestis, a Jedi that has been in hiding and hasn't been practicing, it makes sense that from the start of the game he doesn't move as fast as he should, nor should he have the reflexes. But Eve is supposed to be this peak soldier, and I just didn't like the fact that the game presents itself as kind of a power fantasy, and off the bat you feel kind of stunted, if that makes any sense. And again, I mean, as the game progresses, maybe you feel, it feels a little bit more responsive and snappy. But, then you take a game like Sekiro, which is also a Souls-like game, and off the bat, you feel like again, it's challenging, but you at least feel like you're powerful from the get-go. So it just felt a little too slow and sluggish for my tastes, and maybe that changes. But I'm also kind of tired of Souls-like games, personally.
Okay.
That's a base take.
Dude says, as a degenerate, I agree with Malcolm that all non-productive sex is a kink. Just that you can't kink shame you. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
It was all this talk of the original Lara Croft. We're an older audience here, and the woman who said like this is the first female in video games. I need to. It was the first female in video games that a large population of men masturbated to. That's what she really meant by that. And to the younger audience here, who you may have trouble believing this, I want you to look up first gen Lara Croft, and then have somebody who grew up in that generation tell you every guy in that generation, polygons did not matter.
No, not at all.
I do not remember the polygons. I remember a perfectly generated female image.
Jared says, my birthday is on Tuesday, and it would be really cool to get a birthday shout out from y'all, and for Mel to say happy birthday, you little F.
Happy birthday, you little.
Oh my gosh. Jared, happy birthday, buddy. Ree says also, we need to find out who will take the longest to complete DKC3 in a three-way race between Craig, DSP, and Chacho Areno from Game Center CX. Yes, I am shilling. Watch that show. Thanks, Ree. Jared says, I cannot wait to see Craig watch Battle of Gondor from the third Lord of the Rings movie. It's really going to blow his mind. All right. Well, that's coming here in 2 weeks over on sidescores@locals.com.
Great scene.
Ree says, Nintendo Treehouse has been the woke part of Nintendo for a while, Craig. Ree says there's an option for male and female in Japan for Splatoon 3. No such distinction here in the West. During Splatfest, you can reach King Queen rank Splat 2. Now the rank is just called Ruler. Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's just Herbert says, too bad I won't be able to watch Mel anymore. I refuse to support the quartering since he had his nose so far up the hypocrite Crowder's backside. He cares more about his coffee shout outs than the truth. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Well, Melonie will be back in time. Lone Wolf says, noticed a Dark Souls remaster. Notice on Dark Souls remaster that you don't pick male or female. It's body type A or B. I think a lot of new games are doing that now.
Yes.
Dude came back, says, I still use my Wii U for single player stuff. I can play Wii on an HDMI connection and still play GameCube games once you hack it. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that.
What are your thoughts on the AB body type thing?
I think it's stupid. We have males and females.
It's really dumb, especially because you can have the options for the male and female voices. And was it Elder Scrolls? No, Elden Ring, I should say, also has like the boobs. So like you can make it be like a boy but boobs. Like,
yeah, it's dumb. Okay. It's ridiculous. Mel, are you ready to sing?
Yes, I'm ready to sing.
Okay. We got some more super chats and Rumble rants, but listen, this is probably the last song you're going to sing before we see it for a little bit. Once again, I want to encourage everybody to find Mel over on the it's the Quartercast channel.
Yes. Well, he has a second YouTube channel, Quartercast Live, but the main channel for it is on Rumble at the Quartering.
Okay, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of Kratos El Gratos, this is Melody Mac singing "Bye Bye Bye" in her wonderful German accent.
All right. And doing this tonight, and probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey, baby, come on. I loved you endlessly when you weren't there for me. So now it's time to leave and make it alone. I know that I can't take no more, and ain't no lie. I want to see you out that door, baby. Bye, bye, bye.
No.
Good job, Mel. That was wonderful. Wonderful. You know, it's funny watching Malcolm and Simone in the background, just like kind of like, oh no.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, that was great. Excellent stuff. Wow. Good Lord. It's just what a show.
Sounds
What
like
a
wow.
show. Wow.
That was, yes.
Blake, thank you very much for your Rumble rant over there. Nikki says, I refuse the French system of measurement. U.S. customary is better. Thank you very much. Ree also says, I think the aging down of female characters like She-Ra is more indicative of the California feminist writer getting their mitts on established characters. I could be wrong, though. Either way, it is gross. Ree says, a fellow Fight Night round 3 enjoyed. Did you also abuse the Ali signature punch back in the day? Extrazero.
I did, but really, my favorite person to play as was probably Manny Pacquiao in that game because he's so damn fast. You know, I know I'm not a big boxing fan, but yeah, I loved that game. It was the first, like, something about those Fight Night games. They were just really inviting, and anybody could pick them up because they weren't simulations. They were more like boxing games that were, I guess, structured more like fighting games, and that made it really fun and accessible.
I'll tell you what, let's as we finish up, Malcolm and Simone have been incredibly generous with your time today. We know you guys have, you know, all sorts of stuff, and you guys have hung with us for a long time. This is, by the way, we're going longer than we usually go.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if we're on again, I'll book out longer time. We just made the mistake of booking 3 podcasts back to back today.
Well, look, I would like to encourage everybody, if you have enjoyed Simone and Malcolm, you guys can go find them over on their Based Camp channel. I see their subscriber number is already going up, which is great. So find them over there.
Oh,
Thanks,
wow.
guys.
You guys can,
100?
yeah, it's
Wow.
great.
That's pretty good. Thanks, guys. You're amazing. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. We're small timers, and that you reached out to us meant a lot to us. And we are always here to join you guys whenever you want. I love what you guys are doing, and I do think you'll make it to that #1 spot because this is the the new gaming content.
We will be the giant middle finger to the video game world, and we can't wait for it.
Nice.
They'll be screaming at the sky at GDC. We
we're
hope
gonna
to make this a recurring thing.
And next year we'll be there recording them and laughing at them from the sidelines. It'll be great. So,
Beautiful.
Malcolm, Simone, thank you very much for your time, guys. Thanks for coming
Hey,
on.
thanks,
It
guys.
was really great.
All right, we'll see you guys later
Bye.
on.
Bye.
Right. Awesome stuff. All right, they're super fun, super duper fun. We'll definitely have them back again.
I like them.
Dude came in and says, Melonie, you are not a furry for being into Godzilla. You're a scaly. There's a difference. Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
I say kaiju-y, but you know, it's
60 Watt says, I'm sorry, no. Says, when somebody replies to an essay with, that's a lot of words, too bad I ain't reading them, in the Duke Nukem voice, it simultaneously annoys me while makes me laugh. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mercenary says, I'm not buying it. I'm buying it just because so I can give the middle finger to the journalist. Yes. Talking about Stellar Blade right there. Bully Hunter came in and says, why does everyone on here look like they could be each other's brother and sister? Malcolm, Simone, Craig, and Blabs, Extrazero, Melonie. I don't know, Bully Hunter. I don't know. Dutchy says, please have Malcolm on the show more often. He's a great addition. Thanks, Dutchy. Appreciate that. We'll definitely have them back on for sure. McFly says, Blabs, the spade tattoo equals liking BBC. Don't fall for it. Oh.
Oh, I
Okay.
know. Oh, no. Okay.
Yes, we do know you're a big fan of the British Broadcasting Company. And Kid Gimmick says, Malcolm, I'm sorry. I feel you on BG3. Every NPC is a hoe sentiment. It can be turned. It can turn a perceived bromance into a rejection, altering inner canon relationships with a player character. No, bro, back off. Thanks, Kid Gimmick. Appreciate that. Zach says, I wonder who is smarter, Malcolm or John Carmack, the co-founder of id Software. Thanks, Zach. Jay says, I have some monies. I just use it for vitamins with It's a Gundam anyways. Hey, J-Po, we appreciate that. And if you'd like vitamins, great segue. Go to bluebonnetsupplements.com. My new supplement company I just started, which I have yet to formally announce, but hey, go check it out. Bluebonnetsupplements.com.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Turtle says, hope to see side scrollers as guests on Go Boom Live.
Oh, I don't know yet. Like right now, I'm just trying to get everything going, and then I'll look into getting some guests on. We'll see.
whenever you're ready, we can do a little side scrollers minis on your.
All right.
Yeah. Patrick Greg came in and says, awesome show today, Craig and Co. Make sure to end the live stream as opposed to just leaving it in the studio. There are people out there who do those foolish things. Yep, I was on Patrick Greg's show the other night, and he left the studio just like in the middle of these outros. I was just kind of like standing, and I was like, well, see you later, everybody. Snake Master says, Malcolm reminds me of one of my nephews, energetic and awesome. Hope you're back soon, Mel. Great show today. Thanks, Snake.
Let me just interrupt real fast on Kick. It disappeared on me, but I saw go where it goes nowhere, does nothing, subscribed on Kick. But that thing is now gone. Like half the chat's missing because Kick's broken. But thank you for subscribing on Kick.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Torgo says your egg joke was funny, Malcolm. I got it.
It was.
Sudmuku says, I like listening to Malcolm talk, even though it takes me 5 minutes to decipher what he says. Dr. Kaladin came back, says, happy belated happy resurrection day to Mel, and to all who know our king. Happy belated generic bunny day to everyone else. Certainly Up Stripe says, last super chat for me for a while. I got to save money. Awesome, Certainly Up Stripe. Thank you very much for your support and save that money. Says, bye, Mel. Hope to see you back soon. Also, did anyone notice Blad's personal ads when she was in Clown World segment looked very mistress style dress?
What? What was the ads?
Now you need to go back and check it out. Back here, Tarda says, what's Mel's thoughts on Gamara?
Oh, Gamera's cool, but he doesn't stand out as much as like Rodan, King Ghidorah, or even Mechagodzilla. Yeah.
And Blabs the Tower Tard is going to finish us off.
Blabs the Tower Tard for $5. Breaking news: France has surrendered to F slur lady. I like pickles and violence and tentacles. Yay! I said the right word.
All right, you did good, Blabs.
Today.
All right.
I have memes. Don't you dare.
Okay, let's be quick about them.
I'm trying, whippersnapper. All right, so I can't really play this because
Oh no, we got it. That sounds good. We want to get back to that.
I love it.
We have Grand Theft Auto gameplay. Not a chair. Board. It will. Super chat. Did you knew this?
Lord.
One does not simply understand this reference, which is true. Craig will not understand this reference. You're under arrest for calling someone a slur in GTA6, but it wasn't me. It was Melonie Mac. Don't make me tap the sign. Chuckles. I'm in danger.
What?
I'm like flying through these. These are like a thing from Grum's. Then I got myself some tampons. Where are you going to put them?
Right.
Question.
If only he was here to see this
Malcolm
one.
on the show, sweet baby ink. And that butter dish looks nice. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Look at extra mic or extra mic.
Fires up Tomb Raider, 11-year-old me. Oh hell yeah! Boobs, and there you go. That was my super fast meme.
All right.
Oh, there's one more. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Yo.
You know, hey, congratulations, Mel. You have a new, Twitter profile.
Blabs, I don't know if you saw DMs, but I did send you that
I haven't been able
emote.
to look at them. Hang on.
So Craig's bathroom emote is done.
Oh my
good.
god. Okay. Be right back.
Why am I sitting down?
Because I could.
I guess.
Oh my god! All right, guys, thank you very much for your support today. I know we went super long, and the shows are like we gotta I don't know. This has been crazy the last week or so. But thank you guys very much. Extrazero, thank you for hanging out with us today. Where can everybody find you, buddy?
Yeah, so I have a link tree. You can find all of my socials there. I have my Twitter, which I've just surpassed 650 followers over there at Extrazero08. I appreciate a follow if you like memes, if you want to keep up with the Legion, or you just like a good meme feed. I'm a good follow, I think. You can also catch me over on the Legion of Memers meme streams. We go live every Saturday at 4 p.m. We're taking off this week since a lot of folks are going to Vegas, but we'll be back on the 13th. We'll have hopefully have some footage coming out of Vegas for the meetup. And we'll have James and Kay from Melee Games on as the guest. I unfortunately can't make it to Vegas. It's my wife's birthday weekend.
Wah wah.
But
Birthday wife.
and I also do my show Figure Action. We go live every Thursday night at 9 Eastern, and we talk about all the ongoings with action figure news, primarily with Transformers, but we also talk other stuff, video game figures, Marvel, Black Series, a lot of the Hasbro stuff, and a lot of the higher end collectibles. So if you're interested in that sort of talk, check me out over there.
Awesome. It's great stuff. Obviously, Melonie, we appreciate you hanging out with us for a few months over here. We look forward to having you back in the future, and obviously, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at Melonie Mac Go Boom on YouTube, and my gaming streams at Melonie Mac on YouTube and Kick and Twitch until they ban me, and then Bible Time with Melonie Mac on YouTube.
All right. Awesome. Well, Melonie, we appreciate you. You guys have a great day. That is the end of our week, but I would like to remind y'all that I will be back in a little bit. I was thinking around 2 o'clock, but today's show obviously has gone a little bit longer, so maybe a little bit later, maybe 2:30 or so. I need to grab some food, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about all the ScrewAttack stuff because I have an update on that. So I'll see you guys in about an hour back here on this channel. If you guys are interested in all that, please come on back. But in the meantime, thank you guys very much for tuning in. Your wonderful support this week. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.